changed since I talked to you guys about my experience. There used to be director for hire kind of thing. So there were scripts out there and they were looking for directors to film them. So
Right.
That's when I was hanging around there. They would send me scripts. These guys are looking for a director. These guys are looking for a director. Hollywood stopped doing that.
Okay.
Now you have to walk in with a script. If you want to direct something, you got to walk in with a script.
Okay.
So they want the package already. So they're not looking for people to hire. So what happens is,
Hey Blair, turn your mic down, bud.
if you're a director, if you want to direct movies, you got to be attached to something before you go into those meetings now. They're not just hiring you. So so what people are doing is, if they don't have that access to the studios, they know that they got to do something. They got to do it themselves, indie.
Okay.
Because studios aren't hiring first-time directors with nothing in their pocket anymore. They got to come in with a great script. Hollywood gets 300,000 scripts a year.
Of course.
Something like that. So now those scripts have people attached to them more than they used to.
Okay.
So the guy that wrote this wants to direct it, and sometimes they'll say, yeah, okay, we'll buy the script, but you're not directing it.
So in Harlan's case, let's say he got this movie financed by like an outer source, and then he went and directed it. He wrote it. He acted in it. There's nothing woke about it. You know,
Right.
Is he gonna struggle to get it going? To get it seen, distributed.
Not necessarily. It comes down to quality. If it's good, and someone sees the potential in it, they'll sell. Do you guys know Eddie Braun,
Yeah.
the stuntman?
Yeah.
So his movie Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a perfect case. He's a buddy of mine.
Okay.
There's a perfect case where he just went out and made this movie with the intent of, no one's going to pay me to do this, so I'm going to go do it, and I'm going to go sell it. And he sold it to Disney, and and now he's selling it to Netflix.
Nice.
Really?
Is that the one where he jumps the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the canyon.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he just decided to his own money. He put his own money up.
So maybe it's better. I mean, I'm hearing that indie films are like impossible to get made nowadays. Maybe like right now.
So the beauty of it is, the beauty of the indie film is you don't have a studio on your back.
Why are we not talking about this on the podcast?
Because
Well, hopefully it's recording.
the beauty,
Recording.
I mean, the beauty of
Beautiful.
indie films is there's not a studio on your back telling you what to do, telling you to change this, to change that. We don't like this, we don't like that. That's the beauty of it. The downside of it is they're also not paying you. They're also not
Yeah,
paying you
right,
what
right,
you wanna
right.
do. So you get a lot of freedom doing indie. You get a lot of leeway.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big danger because, it's like, if nobody in Hollywood wanted to do your movie,
Yeah.
maybe it's not
Yeah.
great.
Maybe there's a reason.
Yeah.
And that's a huge chunk
That
of
makes
change.
sense.
Why build the widget if you can't sell the widget?
No, that makes absolute
So-
sense for sure.
So it's like one of those things. It's like, if people always ask me what's the best way to make it in Hollywood, I get that question every freaking day. How do I get in the door? How do I get in the door? Just write the best fucking script in the world. Someone's gonna find you.
Yeah,
Right.
have the talent, I guess.
Someone's gonna find you, man. It's like, and people, and it's all, to me, it's always the blank piece of paper. Like every time when I was doing ads on the agency side, I would have this. We'd start with a blank piece of paper. We got to do an ad for fiberglass, and that blank piece of paper was freedom, and it was daunting. It's like, holy shit, And I would look at it and say to my partner Terry O'Reilly, and I'd say, this piece of paper right now has the best ad in the world ever done on it. We just got to find it.
Yeah,
It's like,
exactly, man.
we just got to find it. It's there. And the same thing with writing, right? It's the best freaking script ever written.
Man, that's interesting.
Put it there. Do it. So,
Yeah, just now type it out. Yeah.
and then if you do that, someone's going to find you.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to get it out there. You got to send it
sure.
to people. But if it's great, it's probably going to be okay. If it's not, you're going to be told a few times it's not. And that's the good and bad thing about Hollywood, is that there's so many people hanging on to crap. And I've experienced it myself. I've seen scripts that people have worked on for years and years and years and years, and no one's bought it and no one's going to buy it. But they keep hanging on to it because they can't see
why it's
They
crap
can't see why
or
it's
whatever.
crap. And people get invested in their own
That's
work,
interesting.
right? I spent
Sure.
a year doing this. It's great.
Yeah, it took Harlan
Sure.
14 years to get this thing, he says, to
Yeah.
the screen.
Yeah.
And he's a talented guy.
Mm-hmm.
Funny guy.
And he has a lot of open doors.
A lot of doors he can knock on.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's the thing. And did he try and sell it elsewhere? I don't know. But sometimes you don't want to. Sometimes I don't want to give it to a studio and they're going to fuck it up.
Yeah, you want to keep it the autonomy.
Sometimes
You want
I
to keep
wanna
it
do
to
it
yourself.
That's a big thing.
Sometimes I want to do it pure the way it should be done, and the studio is going to get in the way.
Nobody else was going to do it like the way he did it, I'll tell you.
Exactly.
That's for damn sure.
So that's the thing, right? And God bless him. He'll learn either way. I was right or I was wrong. One of the two.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be determined, and good good for him. That's a lot of work and a lot of effort to
It is.
put on the line.
Yeah.
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 And the subject matter, it's like a very late 70s, early 80s movie.
Oh, cool.
So, pretty raunchy.
Yeah. It's super. It's super
that's
raunch,
what's-
man.
It's funny. I heard him mention something about Mary
Yes.
Yeah.
in the podcast. That was a movie that sort of changed the world a little bit. When with what's raunchy, what's acceptable. When she goes to the door when she's got
Oh yeah. Yeah. She's got
The
it
hair
all
gel.
in
it's
her
all
hair.
over her hair. That's like holy shit. You've never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Ben
Totally.
Stiller's got his dick caught in his zipper.
Yeah.
That changed. That changed a lot of
Yeah.
what you can see on camera and what you shouldn't show on camera, and it was outrageous. But holy shit, we're laughing.
Have you seen the new version of Blazing Saddles? The
Yeah.
2024?
I saw that.
That is so good.
No.
Oh,
It
you
says-
gotta see it.
Blazing Saddles, the end.
If it was, if Blazing Saddles was released today,
Yeah.
Brilliant.
That's hilarious. Man.
I saw that.
Yeah, it's so good.
That's funny.
Yeah, it's true. Anyway,
All right. So 100%. This is all recording and everything's good.
Yeah.
All right. Just making
Yeah.
sure.
This is good.
Okay.
You don't have to wear those if you don't want to.
oh yeah,
No, it makes no difference, but
But
it just,
Now we're in
we
it.
look better.
now we're
I look
in
more
it.
professional.
It's the optics, right? Like that's all it's about.
Gotta hide my ears. Cool.
What are you looking for, Brad?
I'm just gonna put this on gonna put my phone there on the thing in case someone's trying to reach me.
Absolutely. And if it's anybody from Hollywood, mention us.
No one's calling me
We're
anymore.
We're available.
We're available.
Yeah, we got scripts.
Well, we've had a little bit of a preamble chat anyway, but we're going again.
Yeah, well-
again with Steve Chase.
Again, part deux.
Yeah, man. And this time you drove up.
I drove up from North Carolina. Yeah. In my Ram 1500 pickup truck. Are they a sponsor?
They're going to be now.
Yeah, I hope so.
That's awesome. Hey, so last time you were here, Steve, we learned a lot about a career that you didn't participate in,
Yeah.
and now you're back to maybe chat. I love this that we're going again. This is
Going again. Yeah, you're the first double guest.
yeah.
There you go.
We're stunt guys.
Sick.
We love Take Two.
Well, I felt like I talked about a whole career I didn't have, and I thought, hang on, we didn't even talk about the career I did have.
No, I'm so glad. This is good.
Gotta talk about that a little bit. Where do you want to start?
Well, we were just talking about indie films, and I think let's just continue that for a minute because I find that fascinating.
Yeah.
We're both writers, Andrew and I. We both have scripts that are stellar, and we have scripts that stink. So we absolutely understand what you were saying about.
He can speak for himself, but yeah.
Oh yeah, he hasn't done anything that stinks.
Just kidding.
Well, that's so that's the classic. People ask me about Hollywood, about living in Hollywood and working in Hollywood, and what it's like. And to me, it truly is a town of broken spirits. Like it's a sad place in a way. Like there's so many successful people, but for every successful person, there's 200.
Yeah.
There's 200,000 broken people, and I say
Absolutely.
broken carefully because while they're still motivated, it's a town of negativity. Like actors get rejected
Sure.
50 times a week.
Yeah.
They go to auditions, and it's a grind, and they're going 4 or 5 a day, and they get rejected every day, 5 times a day, and they get 1 job a year or 2 jobs.
Yeah.
So it's a town that beats you up. But on the script topic, I've seen the Oscars are the, I'm not a fan of the Oscars because it's a paid.
Yeah,
Sure,
yeah,
100%.
It's a paid,
Yeah.
But what it does is it gives people a barometer of the business a little bit. Every year in the Oscars, somebody stands up there and holds up the trophy and says, "See, I told you. Like, I've been working on this script for 15 years,
yeah.
and everyone told me I was never going to make it. And boom, I got it. And that's the beauty of Hollywood and the disaster of Hollywood. Tomorrow, I can make it. Tomorrow, I can walk in that room, and I'm going to get that sitcom. Tomorrow, I'm going to walk in the room, and they're going to like my script. But those tomorrows, all of a sudden 2 years have passed. All of a sudden 3 years have passed. All of a sudden 4 years have passed. And you're still going to those meetings. And you're still going and you say, tomorrow, tomorrow, tomorrow. So it's the only place in the world where you can get off a bus, walk into an office, and walk out a million, gazillion.
Sure.
If you land that part or if you sell your
Totally.
script, and that's great and bad because it gives people hope. And a lot of times the talent isn't there. And and it becomes a false hope, and it kills people. I've seen.
But it is kind of false because in the way that because I'm with you. I mean, I grew up thinking about my Oscar speech and all these things. Nowadays
It's really
I
good.
Just
You mentioned
yeah, yeah. But this kind of thing is what you need. You kind of have to taste it in order to get it. But if you're tasting it for such a long time, that is a thing.
That's the problem. So when you're 23 years old, 24 years old, and you're living in Boise, Idaho, and you got a dream to be an actor, a director, a musician, or singer, whatever.
Sure.
Get on the bus, go to LA, and go for it. Give everything you got, go for it. And they do. Every day in LA, like I said, and I'm not joking, I think there's something like 300,000 scripts a year submitted.
Yeah.
It's
One of them's
crazy
mine.
numbers. Crazy numbers. Crazy numbers.
Yeah.
And how many movies get made?
Yeah, totally.
So it's get on that bus, go to Hollywood, go chase your dream. But that 23-year-old all of a sudden is 33 years old and hasn't hit it yet. And now they haven't got anything else because they're working in restaurants, they're selling, telemarketing, whatever. But they're chasing that dream, and at some point, are they going to make it? Are they not going to make it? Are you compromising the rest of your life chasing this dream? You don't have a career anymore. You don't have anything else. You've spent 10 years chasing this thing.
Yeah.
Now you're 33. Maybe you're married now, and maybe you got a kid. Maybe you got 2 kids, and now you're living in a little apartment because you're chasing the dream. Everything's compromised, and if you don't hit it, then what do you do? So for me, it was always, and I've seen this exact scenario play out 50, 60 times while I lived there because all my friends
Sure.
are in the middle of it somewhere at some point. Some made it, some didn't, and it's just like, it's painful to watch. But the promise of tomorrow I can walk in that room and hit it is what keeps them going.
Sure.
Yeah,
But see, now you're an example of somebody who, right from the get-go, and I could be wrong, but it doesn't seem like you were thinking that the whole time. You weren't thinking about the Oscar and all that stuff necessarily. You were just doing your best work.
Yeah, I touched on it last time. I didn't really want to do a movie, so Hollywood was a place for me to get equipment and to
Right.
to get studios, and movies weren't in my mindset.
Yep.
It was all about commercials.
But it's the same. It's got the same vibe.
A little bit. It's leaving Toronto, leaving Canada. When I left Canada, so I had been directing commercials for 3 years when I left Canada, and I started to do in Canada here. I started to do Carlsberg and some of the bigger spots and Labatt's and some of the bigger projects in Canada. So after 3 years, I started getting those bigger spots, and I thought, oh, this is great. Wow, I'm doing some of the highest profile work here, biggest budgets. And then it dawned on me that what's going to happen next year? I'm going to do this again. Like, there's nothing bigger than this.
Right.
Okay.
And then I'm going to do it again the next year. I'm going to do Carlsberg next year again, and then someone's going to come and take that from me, because there's always a new guy.
Right.
So I felt the need. I felt the need to leave to grow. I mean, Canada's 35 million people now.
Yeah.
The U.S. is 350 million. So just by nature of that, there's way more work there.
Totally.
And all the big advertising companies are there. So I thought, I got to leave just to. We talked about it last time about growing.
Sure.
I need to grow. I need to leave Canada to go work in a bigger market. And so when I left, it was my goal was to do Super Bowl commercials. My goal was to do the Oscars weren't in my vocabulary. It wasn't something I thought about or dreamed about. It was like Super Bowl, Cleo's, Cannes Lions.
Yeah, right.
Those kinds of things. And so when I was in, you're right, I put my nose down and I just worked my ass off trying to be the best, trying to do the best work I could possibly do, and get, there's always doors that open. Like in the movie business, there's doors like, hey, I'm doing a film for MGM. Hey, I'm doing a film for Sony. Hey, I'm doing a film. So and I think once you get into those studios and you do well, it's a ticket. Like, all the doors start to open. You can go to that studio because you've succeeded in the other studio. So, and advertising, it's agencies, ad agencies. So you get into an ad agency, and a big agency like BBDO, who had Pepsi and Doritos and giant accounts, and DDB Needham, who had all the Bud business, all the Budweiser, Bud Light, all that stuff. So if you can get into those agencies and do good, that's like a golden ticket, in the sense that there's so much work that they have, and they do good work. Like Pepsi.
And no other doors outside their doors are going to close on you either.
No, the opposite. As soon as they see you're doing Pepsi,
yeah,
Everybody opens.
everybody opens.
this guy's welcome anywhere.
Yeah.
Does it? I got to recollect myself here.
Okay.
Is it? Does it? Does it seem like, as long as you're doing it? I mean, actors, they struggle their ass off because they're constantly auditioning for somebody else's shit.
Yeah.
And you could be excellent, but out of the 1,000 people auditioning, I don't know if it's 1,000, but whatever, 100 people.
Sometimes
1,000,
Oh, yeah.
sometimes 100, sometimes more or less. You may be number 2, but number 1's still taking the cake. And, that's a chance.
So what happens is, in commercials, we're talking 30-second stories or 60-second stories. And it may be a little different now because there's internet pieces they do that are 4 or 5 minutes long sometimes.
Yeah,
But
true.
typically commercials are 60, 30s, 60s or 30s. So the character you're looking for, there's not a lot of room, not a lot of range to have that actor change or grow. So you're looking for a moment, you're looking for a line, so a lot of times for me, when I read the script, I have a character in mind. This is the guy, he's the John Belushi type. I'm looking for a John Belushi type. I think if I could get John Belushi in this spot, it would be great. So I'm going in the casting looking for John Belushi. I'm looking for that. Someone's got to come in to totally change my mind and do something or say something that makes me go, whoa, I never thought of it that way. But typically, I'm going to see 200 people, and it's different now. It's because I used to do it live. I used to do it, sit in a room, and the people would come in, and I could see them eye to eye.
Those days.
Yeah, see them eye to eye and work them and see how they react, see how nervous they are. I could tell they're twidgeting, they're fidgeting their fingers, or now it's here on a camera, and you can't tell so much.
It's on their personal iPhones at home.
Yeah. So it's different now, but
And you have no idea the number of takes they did.
that's right. Well, that's why we do callbacks, right? So I see the tape. I say, okay, this guy's got something, and then we do a callback, and in the callback, it's live.
Right.
So I'm only seeing 10 people then instead of the 200 from
Right.
before. So a lot of times I'm looking for the character. I'm not looking for an actor to play the character. I'm looking for that guy in commercials. So he walks in, that's the guy. Like,
Okay.
I don't need a guy to act like that guy. I'm hoping to find the guy. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you don't find the perfect John Belushi. So you find a guy that has his personality, and we work on the line. A lot of times the character walks in the room and you say, that's him, you know?
Yeah.
And he's got to screw it up to not get it. He's got to be an idiot, or he's got to be, you know, and it's happened.
Totally.
It's happened, you know. It gives me a segue into a famous commercial I did for Doritos.
Okay.
It's called Laundromat. And
Okay.
it's a Super Bowl spot. And in the commercial, there's Sean Hayes from
Yeah.
Will and Grace and the podcast now.
Yeah.
Sean, before he was famous, he's in this commercial. And what it is, it's two guys sitting in a laundromat, and a hot chick walks in, and the guys are sitting there eating Doritos, and they look at her like, whoa. You know, and then they start showing off, throwing Doritos in the air and catching them. And she walks over, takes the Doritos, throws them in the dryer, and then she eats them all. But anyway, so what happened was this girl, the story's never been told publicly, but she got famous from this commercial. Ali Landry.
Okay.
So she was
Ali Landry in the laundromat commercial.
Oh yeah, the Doritos girl. She's known as a Doritos girl. She got very famous. She got her own TV shows after this. Like, it made her It made her career. But anyway,
That's cool.
so she wasn't my first choice. To your point,
Okay.
we did casting. We probably saw 300 girls for this. I needed someone that was obviously personality, obviously looked good. I needed a bit of a gymnast because all the tricks she had to do while she was showing off for the guys, splits and a little flip and all kinds of stuff. So I needed someone that could perform a bit. And there was a girl that came in who was, like I said, I had a vision in my mind of who this person is. She walked in and she was perfect. But she showed up to casting in a miniskirt. And I had specifically asked that they show up in gym clothes or tights because I needed them to do some gymnastics. So she showed up and I said, can you, do you do gymnastics? Oh, yeah. Okay. You're not dressed properly to do this here. She said, no, I don't want to do it. I said, okay, well, I'm doing some more callbacks tomorrow. Come back tomorrow. I'd like to see you do some gymnastics. So wear some tights or something, you know. So the next day, so anyway, she left and we were finished for the day. And I said to the ad agency, that's her. And they said, yeah, that's her. She's great. Her personality's perfect. She looks perfect. She's exactly what we want. The girl next door. Boom. Okay, we'll see her tomorrow. So she comes in next day, and again, she's not dressed appropriately. So I said, I asked you to wear tights. And she said, oh, yeah, I forgot. I said, okay. So she left. I said, look, can you come back? Now, the agency's leaving town. So I said, can you come back tomorrow? I'll do a special session just for you tomorrow. So the agency leaves, and I say, she's the girl. I got a call from her agent saying she's not coming in.
Oh.
So I was like, why not? So she thinks it's goofy. She doesn't want to do it. Okay.
Wow.
Okay. She thinks it's corny, goofy. Okay. So our second choice was Ali Landry.
Oh my God.
So Ali comes in. She does the spot. Runs on the Super Bowl. The next morning, she's on Howard Stern.
Oh my God.
Howard Stern says, there was this hot chick in the Super Bowl commercial, and he gets her on the air. She's on Howard Stern. That night, she's on Leno.
Jesus.
Boom, her career just took off, like to the point where she got her own show. She hosted. She became like a Ryan Seacrest kind of host.
Okay.
You know, America's Funniest Animals, America's Funniest Videos. Like she did a bunch of those kind of shows. She did guest appearances on sitcoms, and she got famous. She's famous now.
I know her name.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Ali Landry, and she wasn't the stereotypical girl next door. She was a little more glam, and I wasn't crazy about that, but it worked.
Well, what's interesting, I mean, imagine if the first girl's watching this right now and she may be kicking herself saying, oh my God, that could have been me, whatever.
She should be.
But did Allie have something that made that her? And if the other girl did your commercial, would the same thing would have happened?
Hard to
Howard
tell.
Stern and all that.
Hard to tell because I don't know. I don't know how because of what we had to put her through in the spot, like her looks and things, and the way she reacted to the guys and the way she interacted with the guys. You only sort of learn that as you're shooting it a little bit. So I don't know how
How it would have went.
how receptive she would have been, and I mean, I would have made her look good. I would have made the spot.
Yeah.
I don't think the spot would have been dramatically different with her.
Sure.
But for me, it was the first look. Like the first look at her is like wholesome girl next door, versus Allie Landry is more of a bombshell kind of Miss America,
Okay.
Miss USA kind of big hair, and it's like different, just different sensibility. But hey, it worked out fine. The spot, was on Super Bowl and got a lot of attention, and we ended up doing another one the next year with her, which is pretty. Give me 1 second. Okay. Which is pretty funny because so now she gets super famous this year, right after the Super Bowl, and she's on all kinds of TV shows. Following year, the agency comes to me and said, we want to do part 2 of this spot. Okay, so what is it? It's for Super Hot Doritos. Okay, so what's the story? We're in a college, in a library, and she walks into the library, and all the kids are there, all the boys are there looking at their books, and she opens the bag of hot Doritos, takes a bite, and all the sprinklers go off because it's so hot.
I remember this.
Man, that's fantastic.
Yeah, so she walks through the library purposely eating the chips to make the sprinklers go off to soak the boys. So she
Okay.
so that's the spot. So we hire her. Great. The guy Sean Hayes from Will and Grace, he's now famous.
Yeah.
The
Okay.
show, we try and get him, but he's too much money.
Oh, jeez.
Now he's too much money. So
Wow.
the day before, so we had to build a set. We had to build this library set because we had to make it rain in there. We couldn't use the library. So we built a giant set on stage, and we built it 6 inches off the floor so the water could drain between takes. There are 1/8 gaps between the floorboards. So a huge set, like a $500,000 set probably. Huge set.
Yeah, I remember the spot. It's brilliant.
And
Unreal.
so, and the way we played it out was, it's like you see a clock ticking. So all the kids run to the library because they know what's going to happen, kind of thing. So they all get to the library and they're watching the clock. And at 12, the door opens and she comes in, and the kids are all like, and then the sprinklers go off, and they all put up umbrellas like to watch her walk by. Anyway, so funny thing happens the day before we built this set. We're lighting it, pre-light. We get a call from her agent. My producer's sitting over there at the table, and we get a call, and I hear my producer sort of arguing with somebody, and I'm not really paying attention, but I look at her, what's wrong? And she puts her hand over the phone. She says, Allie's agent. I said, okay, what's up? Allie doesn't want to come in at 6:30 tomorrow morning. So I said, because we had a 6:30 call, because there's a ton of hair and makeup, and
Yeah.
it's the early start. And I said, she doesn't want to come in at 6:30. No, she wants to come in at like 9. I said, who's out on the phone? She said, her agent. Give me the phone. So I took the phone. Who's this? And the guy tells me his name. I said, this is Steve Chase, the director. I'm the guy that found Allie Landry last year. Remember me? Tell you what, if she's not here at 6:30, I will find another pretty girl to walk down the aisle eating a Doritos. It's that easy.
Fucking A.
And I just hung up, and she was there at 6:30.
Wow.
But that's what happens. The agents get in the way.
Yeah.
If I asked her, she probably said, I'll be there. But the agents are like, I'm going to protect my girl. I'm going to protect. Yeah, you're an idiot.
That's hilarious.
That happens all the time. Agents.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's got to be nonsense. Just nonsense.
It's a false sense of they have to prove their worth. They have to prove
Right.
I'm working.
That's what they're doing.
I'm working for you. And I saw it so much with Tiger Woods at the beginning.
Another young man that you've made commercials with and probably made his career.
Yeah, you
Yeah, I
must-
made his
you-
career. Yeah, I made him famous. You know, he was a nobody.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
Let's get this guy to golf.
Yeah, he was a nobody. I taught him how to swing. But you know, at the beginning in any relationship with you know, it's very rare for a commercial director to have long-term relationships with talent. You know, clients sometimes.
Sure,
With
yeah.
talent doesn't happen, but with Tiger, you know, segue to Tiger real quick. There's a whole story here. So Tiger, so what happens with the agents are, their instinct is to, they come to the shoot with the celebrity, and their instinct is to keep them off the set as much as possible. Like, just, I'm not going to let them sit there. You don't make my talent sit there while we're lighting. Don't do that. I mean, you guys have seen this.
Yes.
You know, bring a stand-in, and it's fine in a movie because it's a long slogging process, and you're there for 60, 70, 80, 90, 100 days. So so it's a pain in the ass to get up and pre-light, and you have the actor standing there at he's making $10 million, and you're going to have him there while you're lighting. I get that part. Commercials is different. It's like it's a day, so it's not a pain in the ass. So the agent's instincts are to get the guy off the set as soon as possible. So, hey, I need Tiger out here for just a quick run through, and then we're going to light it. So Tiger comes out, and my instinct is, Tiger, just hang with us. Stand here, hang with us, get to know everybody. Relax. You'll learn to relax. You'll feel more comfortable when you come out here. Just hang with us. The instinct of the agent is, are you done? Are you done? Tiger, come now. We're going to have breakfast over here. And they drag him off to set.
Oh, God, yeah.
So then it's time to shoot. Tiger's out there and he's nervous as shit, you know, versus getting relaxed. So my thing was always, I'm going to make you feel as comfortable as I can. So I would say at the very early beginning, I would say to Tiger, when they come to get you, tell them no. Tell them you want to stay here. And he said, why? I said, because I want you here. I want to chat with you. I just want to screw around. He said, okay. You know, and so the agent comes, okay, Tiger, okay, they don't need you anymore. And Tiger's like, go away, I'm fine. Just go away. And it works. Because all of a sudden he's one of the crew, and he's just hanging around, and he hears everything, he sees everything. He's not overthinking everything. He feels comfortable standing there. You know, everyone looking at him, he's comfortable now. And that glare, the spotlight's off him. Like, you know, it's all of a sudden, okay, call Tiger, and everyone looks. You know, and here he comes, and everyone's watching him. So
Right.
Yeah.
if I can get him to hang there and to spend time with me on the set, everything smooths out. And it worked really well. You know, he was so comfortable in the end. And an incredible, blew my mind one day. He shows up on the set. So I first met him, he was 21 years old. He had just turned pro. Just won the Vegas. I think he won the Vegas Open or something. 21 years old, Buick had signed him, and Titleist had signed him. So it was a Buick commercial. And it's funny, you know, actors are notoriously are late all the time. Like, you know, you got a 6 a.m. call. Yeah, he's not going to be here. You know, and especially athletes. It's like basketball players will show up at noon. You know, so when my producer says, what time do you need Tiger? And I said, well, the first shot's at sunrise. So I need him on set like 6:45, first shot. And she said, okay, so I'll call his agent, tell him. And there was no fee. I usually get blowback from that, 6:45, no fucking way. You know, but nothing. Okay. And so I said to my producer, I said, so make sure there's a car there. Like, pick him up, and you know, otherwise he'll be late. I need a car there. And she comes back, she says he doesn't want a car. So I was like, oh fuck, he's not going to be there.
He knows how to drive.
Exactly. I need a car to pick him up. And she says no, he refuses. So, okay, so we'll see what happens. So next morning, 6:30, he pulls up, and it just dawned on me at that moment, he's a golfer. Golfers are used to be, not but.
Yeah.
Sure.
He had a
Okay.
6:45 tee off.
Right.
They have 7 a.m. tee offs.
Yeah, man.
You know.
Okay.
So he's a golfer. And I thought, perfect. And he showed up, and he got out of the car, and he had his clubs in the back of the trunk, and you know, and
Of his own car?
yeah,
Was it a Buick?
it was an Escalade.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So he so it just dawned on me at that moment that they're a different breed. Golfers are responsible for their own time.
Mm-hmm.
They don't have a coach calling them. They don't have teammates to rely on, teammates to push them. They're on their own. That's it. So
Yeah, you mentioned the basketball players, but I think that athletes have this discipline.
Yeah, you
know,
think, yeah.
Which, yeah,
Oof.
but wow,
on the court, off the court. Ooh.
learning stuff.
I got two very quick stories. Shaquille O'Neal, Pepsi commercial. He had a 10 a.m. call. He showed up about 2:30,
What?
and
Why?
the crew's just sitting there. And he showed up in a limo with a bunch of his posse, and he wouldn't get out of the limo until I came and talked to him. So I had to come down from the set. The set was on a rooftop. I had to come down to the set, get in the limo, sit with him and 5 guys, tell him what the commercial was. And he looked at his guys. He said, "I'll be done in half an hour." And I said, "No, I have you till 7 p.m."
Oh,
And he just said, "No fucking way." And he gets out, and he refused to wear the wardrobe like Chris Tucker.
Wow.
You know, I work with Reebok, and I got to wear a Reebok T-shirt. And I said, "No, this is a Pepsi commercial. You got to wear something that doesn't say Reebok on it." You know.
And just for those listening, the Chris Tucker reference is in
Part-
Steve Chase Part 1.
Yes, exactly. So, you know, and then Michael Jordan. I signed up for I did a
I've heard of him.
Ballpark Franks commercial, and we're supposed to shoot at United Center in Chicago. 1-day shoot. I'm going to get him for 4 or 5 hours, something like that. So we're there. We shoot all the other shots we can do without Jordan. Setup shots and any details and stuff like that. Balls going through hoops, stuff, anything we can shoot without him. He's scheduled to show up at noon. Doesn't show up at all. A couple hours later, he's not coming. Okay, now what do we do? We'll reschedule for next week. Okay. I'm not available next week. Sorry. I'm in Europe next week. So I don't know what happened. They paid me. They
Oh,
paid
still?
everybody.
Oh, really? There's no
Never
spot?
happened.
No,
Oh, my
never-
gosh.
Never showed up.
What? Why? What the hell?
Well, when he hears this, he's going to call you
Yeah.
apologize.
Now, is that him?
Jordan is like,
That's fascinating. He may not even have been aware of it.
He may not have been aware. He could have been double booked on something. He
Yeah.
could have been.
Somebody booked him on it and didn't
True.
tell him.
So I'm not gonna
Interesting.
I'm not gonna say it was him, but
Yeah.
because he's Tiger Woods status, you know,
yeah, but he is
to some degree.
he isn't. But what honestly, in all the sports I worked with, 2 are different: hockey and golf. And the golf, it's because they're their own contractors. They don't have a big entourage
Yeah.
watching over them. Like, they don't have teammates. They don't have that kind of support system.
Mm-hmm.
They do now. I think the top guys have teams now.
Okay.
But way back when, there was an agent. That was it. And if they showed up, they showed up. But now it's different. Now they're superstars. Now there's so much money at stake. They've got bigger teams. So I think the golfers are self-disciplined because that's the only way they got there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a sport that you can just pick up and play in the schoolyard like you can basketball. Basketball, you can learn a lot,
Well, that's true.
with no money.
Don't be golfing in the driveway.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you can go
See.
you can go down to the park and practice all day long basketball, and it costs you 0.
Totally.
And so golf is a different discipline. So they come from a little different background, a little more self-discipline. And I think and we see it in the behavior of a lot of other team sports where the path there, the path there is they're pushed by fame, and they're pushed by dollars. Like Bo Jackson, I'm jumping all over the place, but I did a commercial with Bo Jackson for Pepsi, 2 of them. He can't read. He couldn't read. Another one.
Wow,
man.
it's interesting.
So here's a guy that graduated from college.
Hmm.
Couldn't read. Yeah, so hockey, what happens is the support system needed to make it in hockey is huge. You got to have family. You can't just make it without that.
But it's similar to the golfers,
Yeah.
is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so because it's such a unique sport. Skating is such a unique thing. Everybody can run. Everybody can,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take a special elite skill. Like you can't skate, and skating such an odd.
Yeah.
I mean, we take it for granted as Canadians, but it's an odd. I can take anybody off the street, give them a basketball,
Yeah, totally.
and teach them to stand there and bounce the ball, and they look like me. I can in half an hour. I can probably make them look like they know what they're doing.
Yeah,
Not a
makes
golf club,
absolute sense.
and not on skates.
That's interesting. But I wonder about things like tennis and other sports, boxing, where the supports. I mean, where you have to wake up in the morning and do
Self-discipline
things
too.
differently.
Self-discipline. I mean, they do, and I'm not saying basketball doesn't take self-discipline. It does, and
Of course.
to get anywhere that high a level, it does. But I've noticed the differences of where they came from, and the
Yeah, I can imagine.
it's just and the way they treat people, and the way they I think golfers have to come up through a system where they got to dress a certain way, they got to behave a certain way.
Yeah, there's a certain class.
There's a code that they have to follow, or they're not going to get there. They're playing at country clubs where you got to have your shirt tucked in, and you got to wear proper clothing to get there. That's not true. That's not true for a lot of other sports where your self-discipline is maybe basketball focused, but not as a complete. And even hockey, look at pro hockey. The players have to dress
Yeah.
a certain way.
Yeah.
And they start that with kids.
And the fan base of golfers as well is
It's changed.
but it's got its own class too.
It-
To some degree, it's not street level.
It's
people
it's
or whatever.
changed. It's changed, and honestly, Tiger is part of that. Tiger made it more accessible. Tiger made golf accessible to people of color, who all of a sudden they see one of them succeeding at
Yeah, totally.
a high level. So he changed golf. He made it acceptable for athletes to play golf, because before Tiger, nobody was in shape playing golf.
Yeah, that's true.
All of a sudden he came in and he was stronger. He was built than anybody.
And now you got Rory McIlroy's who
All
are
of them.
all shoulder.
Bryson DeChambeau just all of a sudden working out. You're not working out, you're not winning now. Before golf, there was no working out. It was natural swing, that was it.
John Daly.
John Daly.
Yeah, great example.
So I think Tiger changed that. So my relationship with Tiger was interesting because so I did this the first day I met him. That story I told you about. He drove up all by himself and he got out of his car and I met him. He introduced him, and I didn't know much about him. He had just sort of come onto the scene. I didn't have an opinion of him either way. It was like, okay, Tiger Woods, great, because he was famous, but he wasn't that famous yet. Here comes the next big thing. Okay, and he so that morning I got to know him a little bit, and I have great outtakes of him over the years that I kept because I knew one day I would laugh at these things. But here's so first shot we're on the fairway, and it's about 250 to the green, and in the commercial, Tiger asks his caddy how far we got. Caddy tells him, and Tiger says, okay, I'm going for it. And that's all the line is. So I go up to Tiger, and we got 500 extras in the background, making it look like a big tournament, and he's standing there. And this is really the first time I think he's been around this hubbub, this big crew and everything. So he's wide-eyed, and Anyway, so I walk up to him and I say, okay, here's the scene. there's two cameras, one there, one's close on you, one's wide on both of you. Okay. So I want you to look at the flag, look at the caddy, and then, just in your words, not a script, just ask him ask him how far, however you would say that. So he says, is that what you want me to talk about, yardage? I said, well, what would you talk about? He said, and I'm going to use clean language here. He said, chicks.
Okay.
So I said, he's 21 years old, right? But he didn't say chicks.
Yeah.
So I was like, my face just went wide-eyed, and I put my hand over his mic because he was wired,
Oh my God.
and I looked back at Video Village, and everybody's like, their heads blew up, and he's
Yeah.
so he was just like, so I just said, so you would talk about yardage? And he said, yes, I would talk about yardage. Okay. So what would you say? Give me an example of what you say. Well, I would ask my caddy, how many yards to her? How many yards to her?
Oh my God.
That's hilarious.
So I was like, okay, that's good. Now let's talk about golf. So anyway, we were laughing and we had a good time. So so we went through that shoot, and part of the deal I made with Buick, so here's crazy Tiger stuff. They signed him to a contract, $16 million for 4 days. That's what they got him, 4 days over the year. And the question was, what are you doing with those 4 days? So
The question to you.
no, to them, like, how do you manage those 4 days? They could do anything that they want with them in those 4 days.
Oh, I see. Okay.
You're going to get tired, 4 8-hour days,
Okay.
do what you want.
Oh.
So Buick had to decide, how are we dividing this time up? So what they did was they would give 2 of those days to production, one day at a corporate golf outing with all their suppliers and clients.
Oh, I see.
Shake hands.
Yep,
One day,
fascinating.
one day at a big convention, meet and greet, meeting people, and that's how they decided to divide it up. But basically,
Interesting.
we're talking about $4 million a day.
Mm-hmm.
So they put two for production. So he's there. Every minute is ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. So you got to really be on the ball how you're shooting this. You can't have him standing around. So I had this conversation with the agency before and the client, how to maximize his time and how many commercials can we shoot in those 8 hours. So I spent time talking about it and thinking about it, and I came back to them with a plan. I said, here, in the best world, how many commercials would you want to shoot? Well, we have 4 scripts. And I said, that 8 hours, 4 scripts. Okay. All right, what are they? And I looked at them and I took them away. And I came back to them with a plan that was going to cost them a lot of production money, nothing compared to his fee. But I can get you these 4 commercials done in 1 day with Tiger. It's going to be a 3-day shoot overall because I'm going to tell you how we're going to do it. But the 1 day with Tiger, I'm going to get you the 4 commercials. Mm-hmm. This is how. So I came up with a plan where I took the 4 commercials, broke them down to all the shots that had Tiger in them, and we booked the golf course for a week. We closed the course down for a week. I pre-lit every shot that Tiger was in on the golf course. Pre-lit, pre-rigged, I had 3 cameras. I had 4 dollies. I had miles of track, and we spent a whole day setting up every single Tiger shot on the golf course. So if you looked at a map at the golf course, you just see setups everywhere, and all the equipment was there. The only thing that wasn't there was a camera. So we had the camera. So as Tiger arrives that morning, every shot is laid out and lit. All he has to do is stand there, take a swing, let's move to the next one. And while we move to shot 2, that camera is being moved to shot 3. But the dolly's already there, and we've already rehearsed it. So the crew knows exactly what that shot is, shot 3. So they put on the dolly, here comes Tiger. This is the second commercial. He should have a green shirt on. Tiger, we put a tent up. Tiger goes in, changes his shirt, steps out, says something to the camera. Boom, let's go 3 takes. Great, go change. You got a red shirt on for the next one. Walk over to the next shot. So I spent a week at the course planning every single shot. Now, it cost them a ton of money production-wise because we had to get all that equipment. We had to expend that whole pre-light. We had to, but
What is that roughly? Do we have a number?
We're just curious.
yeah, just to get my, just to get,
just a head and
Yeah.
idea.
so just to get my crew out for a day, and we're talking now 1996, maybe.
Okay.
When Tiger first came out, just to get my crew out for a day was $250 US. Just the crew and all the,
Sure.
the basic stuff. So now, add all that extra equipment. So probably another 500 a day. You know, just equipment.
Woo.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So
Yeah, but look what they're spending overall. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And look at
a
what they're
big
getting.
deal.
Yeah,
Oh,
so-
God.
so I got them 4 commercials.
That's
in
brilliant.
that day, and Tiger never had to wait for anything. It was like he stepped out, ready to go, ready to go, ready to
So
go.
the only thing you were leapfrogging is the camera.
A camera, and I had 2 set up, so we weren't waiting for that one. We'd go to this one, and that camera's ready to go. So
Right,
while
and
we're
you-
shooting that one, the other one's going to the next
Go
shot.
to 3.
Yeah, yeah.
So not only equipment, now I've got crews. I've got a second crew following that camera. The whole camera department, everything's a second camera department. So it grips everything. They're ready. These guys are taking this one apart that we just shot to move it to the next one. So we tripled up on crew too, but it worked. So it taught them and Tiger and Tiger's people how to be super efficient and how to make things fly on the day. Like we can get a lot done, you know. So
They got the right guy doing it.
well, yeah, it was crazy because I would be there. It was like a military operation, and it was so mapped out, and I had maps, literally war maps on the table in pre-production meetings saying this shot here, shot 3 is for this spot, and everyone's looking at me like, okay, I think we got it. But it literally was a drill. So it worked. And they got their 4 spots, and everyone was happy. And
Now, out of the 3 days of shooting, was that the first day, second day, third day?
depends on what day we could get Tiger, and sometimes the course dictated that. So we would shoot. So what happened was I would determine shots that I needed Tiger on and shots I didn't need Tiger on. And we found a double. I found a double for Tiger in Orlando that from the back you couldn't tell the difference, from the side, from 50 feet away, you couldn't tell the difference. And we taught him. He was a golfer. We found him at a driving range.
Oh, wow.
Didn't have a great swing, but we worked with him, and Tiger worked with him. And he got a pretty,
Nice little lesson.
could not hit the ball anything like Tiger.
Right.
But watching from far,
Yeah.
I got shots of them together swinging, just for us, for reference, so he could study Tiger's swing.
Yeah.
And we got it to the point where he could swing. His swing looked like Tiger's swing, but could not hit the ball like that. But,
Right.
But just tempo and swing and looked just like him. So from 50 feet away, you couldn't tell. From the back, you couldn't tell. So I would design shots that, okay, here's a Tiger Woods shot, but it's him walking away up the fairway. So that's Richard. It's not Tiger. So we shoot those shots when Tiger wasn't there, and balls hitting the greens and stuff like that, you know. So we had tons of stuff to do the other days. So it's just a question of what worked best for Tiger's schedule, what worked best for weather, what worked best for, you know, we're shooting in Orlando, so it was like volatile weather. And you know, I developed a system that we could get a ton out of Tiger. So what happened was I did 4 or 5 projects like that for Buick. So over 3 years, you know, I would get 2 days with him a year for that. I got a call one day. Tiger had done commercials for this company, Accenture. Accenture is a finance, you know, management company, and he did a shoot with them, and it was a disaster. The director was not prepared. The director was, you know, Tiger was sitting on the set waiting. They got nothing done.
This is before you've met him.
No, this is after.
Okay.
So I've done like maybe 2 years with Tiger now with Buick, so
Oh, okay.
4 shoots, and then Tiger goes and does this Accenture thing. Accenture signed him. Accenture signed him for $16 million a year too, but they only got 2 days, so his fee doubled. You know, so they had a disaster shoot. So I get a call from the ad agency saying, "Are you available next Tuesday?"
Whoa.
So I said, "For what?" Tiger, we got a Tiger Woods project that we have to reshoot. So I said, reshoot? What happened? So they told me that, you know, Tiger did not get along with the director, and it was not good. And his people told me to call you. So I said, okay. So I got into it, and I went and I fixed it. Like, it was sort of it was prepped, not prepped the way I would do it. So I sort of had to react and save it kind of thing. So while I did, what it did for me was Tiger was happy to see me. His people were happy to see me, that they knew I was going to take care of him. They knew that he wasn't going to be sitting around doing nothing, that I was going to make it, you know, I was going to take care of him. So, which is a great thing, but also a horrible thing, because the ad agency hated me because they were told they had to use me.
I personally love that.
You know?
Well, who has a problem with that?
Well, because
They had their guy.
the creative guys have the guy they pick.
Yeah,
Now they're
okay, I
told
guess.
your guy's an idiot.
Your guy
You gotta
sucks.
You got to use Steve. And now I have a relationship with Tiger now. So Tiger's talking to me. He's not talking to them. Tiger is looking and saying, "Who wrote this shit?" And I'm like, careful. The guy's paying you wrote this shit. You know.
You're mic'd, Tiger. You're mic'd.
Yeah, totally.
And they didn't get it. Like, this client didn't get it. They had Tiger as a pitch man, and he was talking business. And I approached them, and, you know, so he had to talk a lot in this commercial, and it's not what he's good at. You know, he's like Gretzky. He's not a great actor, and don't ask him to act. So I said to them, I went over to them at lunchtime, and they said, "Wow, he's struggling." And I said, "Well, he's not an actor." I said, you guys should write dialogue that Tiger Woods would say, not what you think.
Yeah.
You should talk about chicks.
You know, yeah. Or golf, or make it golf related. So they're like, well, you know, so.
Well, I don't understand why they wouldn't.
So.
That's who he is.
Yeah.
So here's the thing, you know, a lot of times ad agencies have creative teams, and they may not know anything about golf, but they're given this project. You got to do a golf spot. We got Tiger Woods. So they don't go hire somebody who knows about golf to write the ads. They hire someone who knows ads. So there's that line where, is it a golf ad? Is it an Accenture ad? So
Okay.
There's a little research to do.
Yeah, there is. But the client doesn't see that. The client sees he's saying what a great product we have. That's important, but he's not saying it very well.
Right.
You know, so I can make him say it better. I can make it say it if you dress it in golf lingo, if you dress it in how Tiger Woods would speak. Don't make it.
Which really does make sense.
It does.
Why would you hire Tiger Woods?
Yeah.
His
If
image.
it's not
he was,
golf.
Just image, yeah.
It was golf. He was still on a golf course, but he's saying, you know, when I need financial advice, blah blah blah. Like,
Oh, I see.
you know,
Yeah.
like so. To their credit, after we did this one spot, finished it, they did listen to me, and they even consulted me sometimes. Do you think Tiger would be okay with saying this? You know, and so I helped them. I helped them massage it. But so that became a second relationship that I had with Tiger with another client. They used me exclusively for that because Tiger told them to.
That's great.
So I was like his personal director there for a while.
That's fun.
I was like, oh, yes and no. Like, there was even the client didn't like me because Tiger liked me.
Yeah.
You know, like, they couldn't fire me. I could get away with anything. They couldn't fire me because Tiger would walk. You know.
That's incredible, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
It was, but it was. I could tell.
Fun.
I could just tell that you know they would. You know.
Yeah.
Meetings and honestly, I played with it a lot. Like, after a while, I got really cocky with my position there, and you know, it would be like, we'd be sitting there, and Tiger would say, "Are we on schedule?" And I'd say, "Nah, we're a little behind. The camera broke down." So I said, "We're like 15 minutes behind." And this client was like, "Tiger's leaving at 2:00. You know, we have him from 8 a.m. to 2:00. That's it. He's leaving. Blah 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 blah. 2:00. You're not finished. I don't care. You better be finished." Just like that, like beating me up. And I said to Tiger, "We're about 15 minutes behind." So he said, "You need me to stay?" And I just said, "I can't ask you that, but you could tell them that, you know." So I would have that conversation with him. I need you for 15 more minutes if you could, you know, if you have time. Yeah, no problem. 2:00, the client comes in, you know, in the middle of a shoot, middle of a take, just walks onto the set. "Okay, 2:00, we're done." You know, like just like that. And Tiger looks at him. He says, "We're not done. Just go out there. Just go sit there. We're not done. We need." He looks at me. "How much more time we need?" And I just said, 15 minutes. He said, "We'll be done in 15 minutes. Go wait out there." You know,
That's awesome.
you know, and it's just
Yeah, that's beautiful.
it is. It was great. That was great because I had that relationship with him. But you know, they're more pissed off at me now. Like, you know?
Yeah, they just want to exercise the power they think they have.
That's it. Again, it's taking care of Tiger. Tiger's going to be out of here. We got to get him out of here at 2:00. That's our deal. That's our deal. And Tiger, are you going to charge him more if you say, "No, I'm not going to charge him more. I could just tell him to go away."
Right.
You know? You know?
Man,
But I would fuck with them. Like the guy thought he was Tiger's best friend, the client, because they paid him $16 million. You know,
Yeah.
we're going to have dinner with Tiger tonight. You know, we're going to that's one part of the deal. We're going to have a big dinner after the shoot. So we better wrap on time because we're having dinner. So I said to Tiger, I said, "So you guys are having dinner tonight?" You know, we're sitting there waiting while they're reloading film. I said, "So you having dinner tonight with Gary and the boys?" "No, I'm not having dinner." "Oh, yes, you are. I heard they're making plans. You're having dinner tonight." He said, "No, I'm fucking way. I'm not going to dinner." So I said, "Well, that's not what I heard." So anyway, so he says, so I said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll get you out of it. I'll get you out of dinner." So he said, "How are you going to do that?" I said, "Just leave it to me." So when the client, after we're done, we walk out, you know, of the set, you know, and Tiger says, the client says, "Okay, Tiger, thank you so much. That's a wrap for Tiger Woods, blah, blah, blah." I said, "Thanks." And I said, "Hey, Tiger, don't forget we got a barbecue tonight, right?" And he says, and he looks at me like, "Tonight? Oh, shit, I forgot. Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, okay. At the hotel, right?" "Yeah, at the hotel. Okay. I forgot. I'm so sorry. I'll be there." And
In front of everybody.
yeah.
That's
Wow.
brilliant.
In front of the client, you know. So, you know, the next day he says, "Thanks for that. Thanks."
wow.
got me out of that one. And
No wonder they hate you.
well, they did. And then I was looking for a new camera. This is funny. I was looking for a new camera. I was looking for a new still camera.
Mhm.
So a new Canon came out, and I said to a PA, I said, "Hey, can you check online, see if anyone in town has the new 5D or whatever it was at the time?" So he comes back and he says, "Yeah, they've got it over at the mall here." I said, "Oh, fuck, great. So lunchtime, can you go get it for me?" Give him my card. Get me that camera. So he comes back and he's got the camera. And Tiger sees it and he says, "What's that?" And I said, "Well, it's my birthday. I bought myself a camera." So he says, "Oh, it's your birthday?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Oh man, I didn't know." I said, "Here." So I said to my producer, I said, "Can you wrap this camera up, wrap it up, and give it to Tiger?" And Tiger said, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "After we wrap and Gary comes to get you, say he calls me Shank. Hey, Shank, happy birthday, man, and hand me this box. It'll piss them right off." So I give the camera to Tiger. And after we wrap, you know, Gary comes get Tiger. "Okay, Tiger, you're done. Come with me. I'm going to drive you back to your car." And Tiger says, hang on. He reaches the back of his golf cart, pulls out this gift, and he says, "Happy birthday, Shank." And he hands me the box. I said, "Oh, man, Tiger, you shouldn't have that.
What?
Come on, buddy, you shouldn't." And I open it. I said, what is it?" And Tiger didn't even know what was in it, actually. So I said, "Can I open it now?" So he says, "Yeah, I open it." So I open it, and I said, "Oh my God, a camera, Tiger, you shouldn't have." And he's looking at me like, you know? But the client's just like, "Fuck."
Well, you're making an actor out of the guy.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
for sure.
That's awesome.
So, you know, so I had a pretty fun relationship with him.
Why do you call you Shank?
So that very first day I met him, I was a 2 handicap at the time. I play a lot.
Okay.
Of golf. So he says, "Hey, I heard and he's 21.
See where this is going.
He's
now.
a kid,
Yeah.
right? And he says, "Hey, I heard you can play." He said that to me, and I said, "Well, compared to you, no, I can't play, but I can play." So he says, he hands me his 4-iron, and he says, "Here, let's see you hit a shot." And I said, "I'm left-handed.
Oh, jeez.
I'm left-handed." So he says, "You're a lefty." So I said, "Yeah." So he looks around and he says, the club pro was watching, and he said, "Do you have left-handed clubs in the shop?" And the guy said, "Sure." And he says, "Go get some." I'm like, No, you don't have to get any. You don't have to get any left-handed clubs." So the pro comes back with some left-handed clubs, and Tiger hands me a 4-iron, and he says, "Let's see you hit a shot." And I said, "Nah, come on, man. I'm in my street shoes." And so he said, "No, I want to see you hit a shot." So there's a pond. It's about 210 to the front of the green, over a pond, and then the flag's about another 30 yards back. So anyway, he says, "Can you reach there?" I said, "How far is it to the edge of the pond?" So someone says about 210. I said, "Right there." So he says, "Okay, let's see you hit a shot." And he stands. So I stand up to hit a shot, and he walks up in front of me and stands maybe a foot in front of me.
Whoa.
So his feet are just outside the ball, and he's standing right there facing me. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He says, "Hit it." "Were you standing there?" He said, "You're going to hit me?" He says, "You swing that bad, you're going to hit me? You come over the top that much, you're going to hit me? You shouldn't hit me if you're any good." I said, "Tiger,
Holy fuck.
I can't swing with you standing there. So I'll probably hit you." So he backs up about a foot. He said, "Okay, take a shot." I said, "Do you have to stand there?" He said, "Well, I want to see your hands. I want to see your action, So I said, back up. So he backs up. I've got this on tape somewhere. Like the camera guys were shooting it. Back up. So he backs up, and I take a couple of practice swings, and I hit the ball, and I hit it thin, just a little thin, and just like a rocket just went off, not high, and just barely cleared the pond, hit the other side, and fell back in. And he says, "That was almost a shank." That was almost a shank. I said, "It wasn't a shank." He said, "That was so close to being a shank. I'm standing right here. That was a shank." And I said, "Did it go there?" And he said, "No, but that was close." From that moment on, he called me Shank.
Oh, man.
He said, "Shank, come here." I said, "No, why are you calling me Shank?"
Amazing.
So literally to the point where that afternoon I'm looking at, we're shooting, and I look at the slate, and the slate director Shank. Like Tiger went over and changed it to Shank.
Oh, that's great.
That's cool.
Yeah, so he called me Shank for 20 years.
So how many spots overall did you do with him?
Boy, let's see. I'm gonna say 50.
Oh, really?
Whoa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Crazy.
Yeah, I probably did about 30, 35 Buick spots, and probably the rest.
And now, in
Accenture.
each one of these is costing $16 million or something
Yeah. So
per Tiger.
So Accenture, yeah. Well, $4 million a day for Buick, and then $8 million a day for Accenture, because he was only charging him. He was charging him 16 for 2 days a year, and they only did 1 day of shooting a year, because the other day they used for corporate outing with their clients.
Right.
So, but they used my technique of getting more shots, more spots done.
Sure.
Like I told them, this is how we get a lot done.
Well, they learned too.
Well, Tiger told them, this guy gets so much done in 1 day, and you can't even get one fucking spot done in one. This guy can't get one spot done in 1 day. So Tiger told them how I did it. His people told him how I did it. So that's why they said, "Oh, you can do 4 spots in a day." Yeah.
Wow.
Now, do you maintain a relationship at all?
So he has called me from time to time. I haven't spoken to him. I haven't really spoken to him since all the nonsense went down.
Right.
Like, I have, but not on purpose. He butt dialed me one day, and but he talked to me. Like, I was actually getting ready for a hockey game.
Sorry,
But
that's funny. Not everybody gets butt dialed.
I know.
Tiger would.
I was getting ready. I was in Wilmington, North Carolina, playing in a hockey tournament.
Yeah.
And in the locker room with all my buddies, and my phone's sitting here, and I know what I was doing. I was getting up, doing something. My phone's ringing, and my buddy says, "Chase, your phone." And he says, it's Tiger Woods. So I said, what? And I went over and sure enough, Tiger. And I was like, holy shit. So I answered it and I can hear him. About that, hey. And he finally picks up, hey, hello? I said, Tiger, it's Shank. Why are you calling me? No, you're calling me. Like, you butt dialed me. Oh, what are you doing? I'm playing hockey. He said, oh, okay. Okay, I won't bother you then.
That's hilarious.
He hung up. That's the last time I heard from him.
Wow.
But so he's unbelievably great guy, and the most humble guy you ever want to meet. We did a commercial once. You can look it up on YouTube. It's out there. It's called Tiger Trap. And what we did was we went to a par 3 on a public course, and we hid 13 cameras. Like, we hid cameras and microphones all over this par 3. Guys up in trees, guys in scaffolding disguised as trees. We spent a full week prepping this hole for a live event. And what it was, we were giving away 4 Buick SUVs. Closest to the pin wins an SUV. But no one knew what we were doing there. Like, people would come by in the golf course and we'd just say, we're shooting an infomercial, blah, blah, blah. On the day of the shoot, the way we set it up on the tee box, cameras hidden everywhere, microphones hidden everywhere. We left Tiger Woods' wedge laying on tee box. It's a par 3, 156 yards. And it was an isolated hole. You had to go through a little path to get to it, and so no one could see what we were doing. It was so isolated. And I picked it that way. I went to so many golf courses, found the right hole. And so the way it worked was it had to be a public course because it was a contest.
Mm-hmm.
You could win a car. So you couldn't have a private country club. It had to be open to anybody. So we had to pick a public course. I had to pick a diverse course where there's some ladies play and ethnicities that couldn't just do a white neighborhood kind of thing. We had to find a course that had everything available to anybody, anywhere. So we found this great course, and we put the tee on the box, on the club lane on the tee box. And here we go. Ready? Roll cameras. Here comes a group. We had to get people with walkie-talkies. There's a group coming. Here comes a group. And the group would come around the corner. There's a whole show on, you can see it on the Golf Channel, did a whole making of this whole thing.
Okay,
Oh, cool.
And it's called Tiger Trap. So what happens is the group comes around. Tiger is up by the green, but hidden behind some bushes. The group comes up and someone picks up his wedge and says, somebody forgot a wedge. And they're looking at it. It's got Tiger's initials on it, but it doesn't say Tiger Woods. It's So I'm on a walkie-talkie with Tiger in his cart. I say, okay, Tiger, go. They've got your wedge. Go, go, go. So Tiger comes back to the tee and he says, hey, you guys find my club? And the reactions of the people are like, oh, fuck, it's Tiger Woods.
Oh, amazing.
Holy fuck, it's Tiger Woods. So Tiger gets out of the cart and he says, oh, thanks, man. I forgot it here. I wasn't sure if a 9-iron or a wedge, so I hit the 9-iron and blah, blah, blah. He gives them this whole story. So the guys are looking at him like, holy shit, what are you doing here? Oh, I'm practicing. My course is closed for maintenance, so I just came out to hit some balls. So he's like, wow. So they're all freaking out. And he goes up and introduces himself to each one. Hi, I'm Tiger. Hi, I'm Tiger. Hi, I'm Tiger. So I'll tell you the rest of the story, how that went. But the point of it is the guy was so humble. Before we did this shoot, we approached him on another shoot, like maybe a couple of weeks before. And I said, we have this idea where we're going to do this hidden camera thing. And I said, and I explained it to him. You're going to come back and say, hey, can I play with you guys? And you're going to hit some balls. And close to the pin, you're going to give the guy a key to a new Buick. And the Buick's going to drive out of the woods. And there's going to be a big show right there. And he's like, live? I said, yeah, it's going to be live. Cameras everywhere. So he says, so I asked him, I get there. I say, thanks for finding my wedge. And can I play with you guys? And he says, yeah. And he says, what happens if they don't want to play with me? I said, Tiger, that's not going to happen. Maybe they're having a fun match and they don't want me there.
Yeah, I think it was.
So I said, okay. I said, if that happens, it's not going to happen. If that happens and someone says, I don't want to play with you, say, thanks, take your club and just drive away.
Yeah.
So he said, okay. That's his he's like that. Like,
Wow.
he's very
Wow.
very humble guy. So the fun part was we gave away 4 SUVs, 5 in all actually, and it was a crazy day. Just like but mind blowing. These people, strangers, complete strangers, show up, and I'm there's 13 cameras. I'm listening to everything and just listening to everybody talking, and I have to pick when Tiger drives out. Now, go now. So anyway, so when they all hit, somebody hits the green, the closest to the pin. Tiger takes them to the ball. He says, "Hey guys, come here. I'm going to show you how to read a putt. Instead of running to find your balls, come here. Forget about your balls. I want to show you how to read a putt here." So he would go to the ball that won the car, and he would say, "Okay, stand behind the ball. Look at the flag. Now look up there in that tree."
Wow.
And the cameraman would wave. "Now look over there in the balcony," and the cameraman would wave. And he says, "You guys are on TV." And he's like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then he would take the keys out. He just won a new Buick.
No fucking way.
"What the fuck are you talking about?" And then the Buick would come out. Mike was driving the Buick.
Oh, Trip.
Mike would drive out of the woods. And Sam Pecoraro, is there, Sam?
Yeah.
Sam
Wow.
was AD for that.
So,
So Tiger, the car would drive out of the woods, and there's, and the guy would say, "What are you talking about?" Tiger says, "That's your car. Get out of here." So it was crazy day.
Oh, that's awesome.
A lot of fun. It's called Tiger Trap. You can find it.
so that was shot in Toronto?
No, Orlando.
Oh, right. You said that.
Yeah, I brought Sammy, and
That's
I
awesome.
brought Sammy down because it was
Sam's-
Yeah, and we like to travel as well. Just throwing that out there, Steve.
it was a very complicated endeavor, and I thought Sam could handle it. So
Sam's great.
Cool. Yeah, love Sam.
Sammy started with me. He was my PA at Champagne Pictures.
Oh,
No
wow.
way.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, he was a PA. Yeah,
Sweet.
way back when. So anyway, so that relationship with Tiger got, pretty friendly, pretty cool guy, and humble. Like people don't want to play with me.
Did you have to pick a certain course or do some things to sort of cater to his level of
Yeah. So
class? Or
yes, there was. So I mean, obviously my aesthetic, I wanted the best possible looking place ever.
sure.
But there were some requirements, like you couldn't pick a course that was too far for him to drive. You're losing time, So I picked stuff near his house, nearby in Orlando, close as we could, adapting to his schedule. But he, the biggest thing was he trusted me. Like if I told him, okay, this scene I want you to jump up and down on one foot and carry a chainsaw, he was okay. He never doubted that I was gonna. He knew I was gonna make him look good, and.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you can hope, that with any actor, trust me, I'm going to make you look good. Like the girl, Doritos girl,
Mm-hmm.
she should have trusted me.
Yeah, totally.
That I'm not gonna let you down. I'm going to make you. I'm going to take care of you. Because it's me too. It's my career too. So
Oh, absolutely.
and that's part that a lot of people don't get. It's like I'm not gonna screw this up because this is my career too. Like so, and I'm gonna
For sure.
I'm gonna protect me before I protect you. Yeah. So it's been I'll tell you a little bit about all the nonsense that happened. My perspective on it, because I know him, so I have an insight into what was going on.
Like when it all
It all blew up.
What? Like it was the pinnacle moment when wife came out smashing the truck. That was the pinnacle moment, at least in the media.
In the
I think.
media. So here's my perspective on it. Tiger, he's been famous. He's been famous since he was, really famous. He was famous when he was 12 because he was winning tournaments, but really famous from like 16, 17, like.
He was a prodigy.
Here he comes.
Everyone knew.
Yeah, here he comes. And he was starting to appear on the world stage, and then he won very early on. So he's been in the limelight and famous for quite a while. And when he launched, it wasn't quiet. It was boom. Like he won right away, and he won the Masters by big numbers, and he won. So his fame went from 0 to like top of the world in minutes. So the truth of the matter is, there is nobody in Tiger Woods' life that is really a friend. Nobody. except his father and his
Yeah,
mother, except
yeah.
his father and his mother.
Okay.
Everybody else is there because he's Tiger Woods.
Totally.
It's just the way it is, and it's sad. It's sad, but it's true. He's only there, and so his only true friend who was there every day for him was his dad, right? Because
The man who taught him to golf and
everybody else was there. Everybody else, and I could see it every day. I could see it every day on the set. You would walk in, you know, we'd be shooting something, and some guy would come deliver. Someone comes on set to bring the catering, and he walks on the set and he's grumpy. He's grumpy. Sees Tiger Woods,
yeah.
big smile, and that's in a nutshell. That's Tiger's life. Everyone that sees him all of a sudden is Tiger Woods.
Right.
And how do you deal with that every day when you know everybody in your life is only there for one reason, because your name, not who you are, and that's just the truth of it. He's maybe one of the most famous people in the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
In my opinion, maybe one of the loneliest people in the world. True.
Yeah, really.
Because nobody is there because Tiger Woods is just a good guy. If he worked at McDonald's, would everybody be there? No. You know, and that's so my perspective on it was like it's a hard life to live at that level, because no one's real, nothing's real.
That's like movie stars.
Yeah,
You
same
know,
thing.
people ask me about movie stars all the time, and for us as stunt guys, people hang with us,
Yeah,
but they're pretty guarded
they are.
because they don't know what your intention is.
They are.
don't know.
And as the more famous you get, the more that happens.
Yeah, and there's some superstars that can escape to a land somewhere else,
yeah.
but there are superstars like Tiger where the escape is so minimal.
He worked at it though. Honestly, I was shooting with him in Orlando one day, and the clients, like I talked about, the agents trying to protect everybody all the time. The clients tried to protect Tiger all the time. Lunchtime, they set up big salmon dinners for him in his trailer, and you know, and like a 5-course meal, and gourmet chefs cooking for him, and the AD would say, "Okay, that's lunch, 1 hour," and Tiger would look at me and say, "What are you doing for lunch?" I said, "Well, actually, the catering's got fish today, and I hate fish, so I'm getting a Big Mac." And he's like, "Can you get me one?" You know,
Really?
you know?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a guy, right? Like, he's just a
Can
guy.
you get me one? I said, "You got salmon in your trailer." Oh, fuck, I don't want to eat with them. You know? So he said, and some days he would just say, "How long we got?" I said, "An hour." He said, "Okay, I'm going to take off. I'll be right back." "Where are you going?" "No, you're not. You can't leave." "No, I'm going to go get a burger. I'm just going to go to McDonald's and get a burger." "I can send somebody." "No, I want to go. And he would just get in his car and go drive through, and he just desperately wanted to just be one of the
Normal
Just
guy.
normal. Yeah.
And to the point where after a while, like I mentioned about letting him hang out on set so he knew everybody and comfortable, I worked with him so much, and it was usually the same crew, usually the same guys that would be, he would see the same faces on the set, and he got, you know, he'd say, "Hi, Sam. Hey, Johnny. Hey," you know, he just got to know everybody, and just day and night difference. And crazy talent. on that Tiger Trap thing I talked about, all these strangers coming up to play. So he would meet them all after, you know, when he got to the tee, he would say, "Hey, I'm Tiger," and they would say, "Tony, I'm Sam, I'm Jim, he'd remember their names. Like an hour later, after we're done, and they're all the winners are there, he said, "Jim, that was a great shot. Tony, hey, good." I'm like,
Wow.
Tiger.
That's a discipline.
I said, "Tiger, how do you?" I was blown away. I even asked him about it after. I said, "How the fuck do you remember those names?" He said, "Well, when I was 7 and 8 years old, my dad told me," he said, "one day you're going to be playing with CEOs, and you're going to be playing with presidents of companies, and you got to remember their names." And he would grill me. And
Yeah.
I was like,
Wow.
"Holy shit."
I mean,
Talk about
Yeah.
planning, right?
Yeah, awesome.
So my perspective on the whole Tiger fiasco. Like I said, I think his world was in a way a phony world. like in the sense that no one was there for the right reason.
Yeah.
You know, a few people, but very few. You know, his agent's one of his best friends, but again, I have to
But,
ask,
yeah.
would he be his friend if he worked at McDonald's? No.
And he wasn't catching commission.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
You know, so there's a couple of buddies, but they're all based on one thing. He's Tiger Woods. And I think the marriage was the same way. You know,
Yeah, really.
would she have married him if he worked at McDonald's? I don't think so.
Not that there's anything wrong with working at McDonald's.
I'm using that as
I know, I'm
using that
teasing.
as the difference between
Right.
Yeah.
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 The two worlds,
a billionaire,
100%.
a billionaire in McDonald's. So
For sure.
so it I think she knew who she's marrying. I met her, nice girl, Elin. I think she knew exactly who she's marrying. How could you not?
Right.
He was single. He was a playboy. He should be. Why not? He told me one day, he said, I'm getting married. And I looked at him and I was like, why? Why are you getting married? And he said, I want to have kids. He said, my dad's very ill. I don't know how longer he's going to last. I'd like him to see some grandkids.
It's a very real thought.
So I said, well, that's a good reason. That's the best reason I can think of. So
Yeah.
he said, anyway, so he said, yeah. He got married, had kids. But I don't think, how do you wake up every morning besides somebody knowing they're not there
For the real true
because
reason.
you're Eldrick Woods.
Mhm.
They're not there. How do you deal with that? And I think he doesn't know. If I could say it in layman terms, I don't think he really knew what love is. Like to love somebody for who they are. I think he's not. He's got two personas. You know, the Tiger Woods is so big. I don't know. I don't know who in his life is there for the right reasons. And so I don't. What he did was wrong. You know,
Sure.
he didn't need. He shouldn't have got married.
Yeah.
What he did was wrong, but I don't blame him because I don't think he could fully grasp what it is to be devoted and to be, because there's nobody devoted to him.
Right.
Yeah.
They're devoted to his image,
It's really quite sad.
and it's hard. I was just saying before you got back, I think he was one of the loneliest people I've ever met.
Yeah.
As famous as he is, he could walk in anywhere and people yell his name, but it's not real. And I think part of the reason why he and I got along was I treated him like an idiot. I just called him a jerk and I called him a shithead, and I just fucked around with him all day long, and
Yeah.
he appreciated
That
it.
was a real interaction.
Yeah, and that's a rare. I can imagine that's a rare thing.
He appreciated
Very
it.
rare.
And I wasn't, and the first time I met him, he was famous but not as big, and I wasn't impressed by him at first. You know?
Oh, you grew into it with
I
him.
grew into it with him. And we sort of grew into the film stuff a lot. But, you know, I'm not the only one that did a lot of work with him. Joe Pitka did, and Pitka's a famous guy. But anyway, so I think looking back on it, his wife knew who she was marrying. And I think everything was okay as long as until her name got in the press.
Right. Now, after that, he's found on the side of the road sleeping in his
Yeah.
SUV. And also, is this all part of it? Is the media blowing it up a lot bigger than it really is, though?
Combo. So here's. Are you guys golf fans?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, love.
So
yeah, no
did you
good at it, but I love it.
Did you see the tournament, the U.S. Open, when he beat Rocco Mediate on his leg was broken, basically? Totally nuts.
No.
So go back and look at Rocco Mediate, Tiger Woods, U.S. Open. So Tiger Woods tore his knee up, and he could barely walk, but he won the U.S. Open.
Yes. Okay.
He won the U.S. Open, and I was shooting with him the next day. At 6:30 in the morning, he had to be on set.
Oh wow.
So it was a playoff. So in the U.S. Open, there's no. I think they changed it now, but it used to be a full day. You didn't play off after you finished. You came back the next day and played a full 18 holes. That was the U.S. Open playoff. I think they changed it now, but anyway, so we were all in Orlando ready to shoot. We had set up all the equipment. You know, like the whole course was covered with equipment. We're going to shoot Monday morning, and fuck, they're tied. So
Oh, wow.
playoff tomorrow, so we're not shooting. We're all sitting in Orlando going, oh, fucking the client.
So when you speak in Orlando, that's that closest to the hole.
No, this is just another shot.
It's a different shot.
Yeah,
Different.
another spot. So we're shooting totally different spot, and but Tiger's got this broken leg, but he wins the U.S. Open the Monday. So we're sitting there Sunday thinking he's going to be with us tomorrow morning, but now there's a playoff, so he's not going to be with us. So the client's going, oh, because all this equipment's sitting there. It's going to cost him $500,000 to delay a day because Tiger won't be here. So now we got to shift everything. So we're shooting Tuesday now, but Tiger's injured. And I'm watching, we're all sitting in the clubhouse watching Tiger limp around the golf course. And he beat Rocco. And he's got to be with me at 6:30 in the morning. So they finish at Torrey Pines in California. The U.S. Open, the playoff finishes about 6 p.m. Then there's a champions dinner at 8 p.m. Then he's got to get to the airport, get in his jet, fly home. So he's getting in his jet at 11 p.m. California time, which is 3 a.m.
Yeah.
And he's got to be with me at 6:30. So I'm like, holy shit. So I'm doing the math in my head, like, holy fuck, he's not going to be here on time. He's going to be late, but we'll deal with it, you know. So I'm doing the math. He's got his private jet. It's going to be a 4.5 hour flight. He's going to land at 5:30 and got to be with me. So anyway, so I told everybody, I said, you know, we'll just be ready. We haven't heard he's not coming, so we'll just be ready. So he shows up. So anyway, next morning, the crew's there at 6:30. We go in, we power up everything, get ready just in case, you know. 6:15, here comes Tiger's Escalade. He pulls in, and he gets out, and he gets out of the car, and he's visibly hurt, limping. And I just said, holy shit, man. And I gave him a big hug. I said, congrats. And he said, thanks, Shank. You know, then he says, I said, are you okay? And he said, no, I'm fucked. He said, I'm not going to be playing golf for a long, long time. So I said, what'd you do? He said, I tore everything up. It's all torn up. He said, I said, is it diagnosed? He said, no, I can tell. All right. So he said, what do we have to do today? So I said, well, he said, do I have to swing? I said, yeah, you got to swing. So he said, okay, like a lot? So I started doing math in my head. So I said, well, what hurts? Tell me what hurts a lot. He said, well, if I have to squat down for a putt, that's going to be hard. I said, I started thinking, no putting. He said, okay, great. Just putting, but you don't have to squat. Okay. So he said, swings? So I said, yeah, there's a few swings. He said, I'm okay as long as I don't have to do a lot. So I said, look, you know, the beauty of you working with Tiger Woods is take two is going to look exactly like take one. So
I was going to say you don't need that.
You don't need to do take two, you know. So anyway, so then he says, I told him, and he says, okay, and he said, oh, Shank, look in the back. He starts walking away. Look in the back seat. Look in the back seat. So I open the back seat, and there's the U.S. Open trophy.
Trip.
Wrapped in a towel.
Oh my God.
So I go to touch it. He says, don't touch that. So I said, why? He says, it's bad luck. He said, it's like the Stanley Cup. He said, you touch that, you'll never win it. I said, I'm not going to win it anyway. So, so he laughed. So anyway, I said, you're going to leave it here? He said, yeah, who's going to take it? And I said, don't leave it here, okay? So I took it out and I put it in his trailer. I said, we're not leaving that in the back of your car. But so to come around with the story, from that moment on, things changed. Because he went and had the surgery, and he was off for a long time. And so the next time I saw him was probably a year later. And now we're approaching the golf club in the fire hydrant time. Like it's a few months before that happened. But I see him, and he's recouped, and he's starting to hit balls again, and we're going to shoot some more commercials. So he shows up on set, and I just said, how's your knee? And he said, fine. So I said, we got a lot of squatting to do in this one today. There's a lot of reading putts and stuff. And I said, are you okay with that? He said, yeah. And he holds up a bottle of painkillers to show me. He said, I got help. And I was like, okay. And I sort of watched him all day, and he was popping them, you know, regularly. And I don't know how much pain, you know, from my perspective, it's pain management. I didn't know there was a problem, you know. So I think that year he sort of got hooked on
Oh, I see.
on the combo of Ambien to sleep and
Shit.
painkillers. So I think that's my perspective. And he had a pharmaceutical sized bottle of, I don't even know what they were, but
Right.
anyway, just looking back all the history and you hearing everything, I was like, okay, I think that's where it started. That's where the problem started. So I think that roadside thing was
Just kind of a part of that.
residual,
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think he cleaned house. He had a lot of bad influence in his life, I feel, and this is just, again, my opinion. Like he was he spent a lot of money gambling, with Jordan
Oh, yeah.
and
Okay.
Charles Barkley, and his wife hated Jordan. I think she felt he was a real bad influence on him. And after all the crap went down, Tiger cleaned his life up a bit, and he's not friends with those guys anymore.
What's he doing today? Do you know?
He's his kids. He's
Right.
really focused on his kids, and which is great. And he looks healthy. I'm glad to see him out. He's playing today, right?
Is he?
Yeah, at the Genesis in L.A. He was won over yesterday, and
Do you think he's happy? Is he having a good life?
boy, that's a deep question.
Yeah.
I'm not sure, and this is why goes back to what I was saying. He's one of the saddest, not saddest, but loneliest people.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's probably a lot happier. He's got two people in his life that are there for the right reasons. He's got kids that
Yeah. Don't-
Yeah.
So I think that probably filled a huge void for him, and he's got a reason to behave differently. And
Some superstars, some celebrities and stuff, they come in and they're maybe hot for 10 years or something. And then all of a sudden that kind of fades
yeah,
and they can live that normal life again. Some of them, maybe they don't want to, maybe they do. But a guy like Tiger or Jordan or Barkley,
Yeah.
I mean,
there's no hiding.
there's no hiding for a
Yes.
long time.
Full steam ahead every day.
Yeah. When every new generation comes in, they know exactly who you are.
But I think he works really hard at not being a celebrity. I think he doesn't like it. So I think he works really hard at going to McDonald's, picking up burgers, and driving around town himself. And he doesn't want people driving him. He doesn't want it's just I'm fine. I don't need that. I don't need that help. Just leave me alone. I think he's good at that. So I think he caddies for his kid in the kids' golf tournaments. So that's cool. I think I would bet he's happy right now, just because
Good.
he's in a good place. He's somewhat healthy again. That last accident he had.
Mm-hmm.
I know the road very well. It's an off-camber hard turn down a steep hill, and my perspective on it, a film crew made him late, which is ironic, right?
Yeah, that is.
That's Tiger?
No. No, just an update on my.
Yeah, I was gonna say put it on speaker.
Yeah. What are you doing? Nothing.
Everything
My
okay?
ears are burning.
Everything okay?
Yeah. My ears are burning. It's like, you're talking about me?
Yeah, could you see he's on television golfing right now in California?
That's right.
And he's thinking, I'm going to call Steve.
I gotta
Yeah.
Shank.
Hello,
Shank.
Yeah.
So, I know the road very well. So, what happened was he was at the hotel. There's a film crew in the driveway. He's going to a shoot at another golf course. It's only a 3-mile drive, so he's leaving with plenty of time. He gets in his car, and they hold him there in the parking lot because the film crew is in the way. He can't get out. He can't get out. He can't get out. He can't get out. And now he's late.
Really?
Yeah. Tiger doesn't want to be late.
Unreal.
So he's 20. They hold him there for like 15, 20 minutes because the film crew's got the road closed in front of the hotel.
Oh my God.
So he gets out. Now he's rushing to be on time. And,
No one knows this.
oh, there was sort of written.
Oh, I've not heard.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can put the pieces together, and you know, and I know him, so I know he would be really upset being late. So, and I know the road. It's in Palos Verdes. It's a steep. It used to be a where that hotel was used to be a big gravel pit, and the big trucks would go down this road like super slow. They even had truck runoffs on it, you know.
Wow.
Big steep grade, and it's slightly off camber or flat, you know, instead of curving. It's big steep grade and a sharp turn. And I think he was rushing, and his tire hit the medium, I bet, and just caught the bead. And
Yeah.
that's my perspective on it.
Wow.
What a shame.
The car, the Genesis saved him
But
probably.
it's easier to sell that he's got a problem and blah blah blah. Blah.
Well, that's because
You know.
it's, you know, well, must be 2 + 2. Maybe there was no blood test that said otherwise. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's one of those things that even if I spoke to him, I would never bring that up, you know.
Wow.
So anyway, so you know, yeah, it was a crazy, very unique relationship, and very rare that any commercial guy would ever have that kind of relationship, you know.
Right. So here's a question.
Yeah.
Did you ever
Yeah.
golf with him?
Yes,
Oh.
funny story there. So,
So, you know, all the lessons, he stopped and told you how to. No.
oh, let me show you. I'll show you pictures after, like
Yeah.
the 5,000. I used to call it the $1 million.
Well, if there's anything I can put up on the podcast so
Oh,
the
I'll
people that are listening and
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
know who Tiger Woods is.
Yeah. Do you ever cut
Yeah.
things into it?
I do,
Do
absolutely.
you cut commercials in and stuff?
Only if I can. If
We
it's-
can still, if I mean it's up to you, but we can air them on the channel or
Okay, yeah,
do
because there's
things like
the
that.
spots that I'm talking about that I could show
Yeah,
you.
yeah, man.
Yeah, that'd be
But-
sweet.
But anyway, so playing golf with Tiger. So you know how I told you he sometimes at lunchtime he didn't want to go eat salmon.
Right.
He wanted to go get McDonald's. So one day we're in Orlando, and this is well into our relationship. Like so I said, AD says that's lunch, 1 hour, and Tiger. I looked at Tiger and I said, salmon for you in the trailer, Tiger. And he said, I don't want to eat salmon. And he looks at me and says, what are you going to do? I said, well, I'm actually going to go play some golf. So he says, you're going to play golf? I said, yeah, we got the course closed. We own it.
Yeah, sure, man. Why
I'm
not?
going to go play some holes. And he said, I want to play golf. I said, okay, let's play golf. So he says to the client, he just yells over to the guy who's, you know, I'm not eating today. I'm just going to play golf with Shank, you know. So that was like an alarm bell went off. Boom, because now all of a sudden security guys who are eating lunch
Yeah.
are not eating lunch anymore. They're like, oh, fuck. He's going to go around the golf course. We got to go around the golf course. The whole crew, they're going to play golf. The whole crew grabs their lunch and they're walking around following us.
Really?
Yeah, following us, watching us play golf. So we get to the, so I said, I got to go get my clubs. So I go to my car, come back with my clubs. Tiger's warming up. And I said, he said, what are we playing for? I said, how many strokes you giving me? He said, I'm not giving you any strokes. So I said, Tiger, what do you mean? You're number one in the world. I'm like number
Yeah.
750,612. And he says, really? You came
What
up?
does that make me?
You came up?
Really? You got up that high? And I'm like, fuck off. You know. So he said, I said, you got to give me, I said, look, you're like a +9. I'm the 2. So he says, I'm not giving you any strokes. No, I said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Strokes in golf. That's what he's talking like that. So I said, well, the whole world does it. And he said, yeah, not me. I'm not giving you any strokes. So he says, can you imagine like a boxer giving a guy a free punch? Like, why would I do that?
Yeah, I kind of agree.
Wow, that's a
I-
really good analogy.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So I said, all right, so let's play for $10. He said, okay, $10. So I took $10 out and I gave it to him.
Totally.
He said, what are you doing? I said, well, so anyway, so we tee off and he hits this ball that just goes forever and ever. And I've seen him hit balls all the time, but just launches it. And I'm just like, do you always hit your driver that high? And he says, yep. I said, why? And he says, no trees up there.
Yeah, man.
So I
That's a
said,
good answer.
I said, okay. Again.
Huh.
Anyway, so we're walking up the fairway. Everyone's following us. And I get to my ball, and he stops and he says, it's a real shame out here, you know. this course is going away. I said, what are you talking about? And he said, yeah, they're building a Walmart here. I said, they're building a Walmart? Where? He said, between my ball and your ball.
Oh, that's a good joke.
And I said, shut the fuck up.
I'm writing that one down. That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
that's great.
And I was like, oh my God. So anyway, so we played a bunch. We got in about 6 holes, and then lunch was over, you know. And well, first we're in the middle of a hole, and the AD says, "Okay, we're back." I'm like, you know.
Yeah.
So he says, "Steve, where are you?" And I said, "I'm on the 6th hole." So you know. So he says, "Well, we're back." I said, "Well, I'm with Tiger, so we're not back till Tiger comes back." So we finished the hole and went back to work.
Oh,
That's awesome.
And then I played a couple more times. One time at his place, Isleworth. We were
At his place, his house?
no
His-
so before he built his house he has now in Jupiter. He lived in a community called Isleworth, which is right
Okay.
in Orlando, and they had a golf course. I think Arnold Palmer designed it, and it was a private community, gated community with a golf course. All the homes are built around the golf course. And when Tiger moved in there, when he first turned pro, that's where he moved there. And he moved in there because a bunch of other golfers lived in the area.
Okay.
So they lived in the same community, but the golf course wasn't great, and Tiger was going to move out because he wanted a better golf course. And the guy who ran the community said, no, don't move. I'll change the golf course. So they rebuilt the golf course to Tiger specs so he could practice there. And it's just crazy what they did. But anyway,
Man.
so one day, client, and it was Buick, and we went out to play with Tiger at his place, and we get there, and my last name's Chase, and it was on one of the roads that borders the golf course is Chase Road. And so we get to the course, and Tiger's there, and we're ready to go. And I said, "What tees we playing?" He said, "There's only one set of tees, like the very back tees." "What do you mean? What tees are we playing?" "We're playing the tees that matter. There's only one set of tees on this golf course." So I'm like, "Okay." So we're gonna play the tip. We're gonna play the tips. All right. So as we're walking back to the tips, the set of tees before the tips. So all the tips have names, like Azalea, whatever. We get to the white tees. So there's a white, blue, black. So we get to the blue tees, and it says Chase. So I said, "These are my tees.
Oh, that's trip.
These are my tees, Tiger." And he says, "Right here. It's my name, right there." "That's your name?" He didn't even know my name. Calls me Shank. "Yeah, that's my name, Steve Chase." He said, "You're Shank." So I said, "These are the tees I'm playing." It says my name right on them. And then the back tees say Tiger. They're Tiger tees.
Oh.
So he said, no, we're not playing those tees. So he makes us play all the way back, which is like impossible. But anyway, so yeah, I got to play them a few times. There's a great clip I'll send you on the day the Tiger Trap where we hid the club and all the cameras.
Mm-hmm.
We were waiting for people to show up. So there's shots of me and him just hitting balls.
Yeah.
And the cameraman started filming it. So there's shots of me like hitting it this far from the hole, and he's like, "Holy shit, look at that duck hook you just hit there. It's just a big duck hook." I said, "It wasn't a duck hook, it was a draw." And we're arguing, we're bickering back and forth, and it's all on camera. And I'm about to swing, and he looks at one of the cameramen fixing the camera, and he says, "I wouldn't stand there, sir, if I were you." I'm a lefty, so I'm standing like this, and the cameraman's where you are. And Tiger says, "You should move, because
Yeah, you never.
Shank's up.
Shank." And I'm like, "Oh." So Tiger walks over and moves the camera, moves the stone. He's okay, you can hit now. And I'm like, and it's all on tape. I'll show it to you.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
So anyway, I did that. That's a great piece of film. I love that film. It's just him giving me shit the whole time. I swing and he's behind me going, imitating.
That's so cool, man.
Imitating me. So we had fun.
That's great.
And that's yeah, I made him famous.
That's awesome. Oh, that's great.
Those are incredible stories, man.
Yeah, they are. It's great.
And then yeah. But we, the power of advertising. You can, like Ali Landry, one commercial, boom. The
Yeah.
other one was Bud Light. I love you, man. I did those spots years ago, and that guy got famous to the point where I ruined his career. We did.
Speaking of ruining careers, my dog's going crazy upstairs. I apologize.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's just a little guy, but he's loud.
Are we out of time?
Oh, I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
Oh, good.
No.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
All right. So anyway, yeah, Bud Light. This guy, Rob Fitzgerald, he was an actor I hired, and we did these commercials for Super Bowl, where the guy, father and two sons sitting on a dock fishing, and the father says, the son looks over and he says, "Hey, Dad, you're my dad." The father's like, "Yeah." Says, "I love you, man." And the father looks at his Bud Light and he says, "You're not getting my Bud Light, Johnny." And he's like,
Oh, damn.
and he slides over to his brother, "Sam, forget it, Johnny." So we did that spot on Super Bowl, and it got pretty famous. So I love you, man. He said, "I love you, man." That guy, David Letterman, had him on his show for 5 nights in a row. So
Jeez.
David would be talking, and all of a sudden the guy would peek out, "Dave,
I love you,
I
man.
love you, man."
That's great.
And so that term became huge. We ended up doing 5 of these commercials over the next 3 years with Charlton Heston. We did one with Charlton Heston, Barry White, and he's interacting with all these, and he just says, "I love you, man. You're not getting my Bud Light. Get out of here, you bum," Anyway, so it got to the point where this guy could not get any other work,
Well, yeah. Yeah.
like nothing. He would go to auditions, and he would audition for something else, and at the end of it, they would say, "I love you, man." And he's like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah.
So I told him he made a lot of money with Bud Light because
It's got to be a lot of money.
because he got so famous. They sort of they brought him to the Super Bowl. They put him on the big screen at the Super Bowl. They marketed the shit out of him.
I bet.
So they paid him an annual fee at some point, like whatever.
Wow.
He might have made a couple of $1 million on it, but I warned him. I just said, "Put the money in the bank, man. You're going to have a hard time working after this." And he's like, "What?" I said, "I'm telling you, like, you're going to have a hard time getting work because you're going to be the 'I love you, man' guy." So as great as it is,
Oh, we heard a similar story from Don Carmody, the producer. He was talking about doing Weekend at Bernie's,
yep,
and that fellow that played Bernie
yeah,
couldn't
my
get
God.
work anywhere
I know it's a killer.
because he was the dead guy.
He's the
Imagine.
dead guy,
Imagine.
but I can play a dead guy.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone wants a commercial that hits because those residuals are just a
Yes.
beautiful thing. And you've
They are.
worked one day and you got, whatever.
Yeah, but you fly for a few years.
but then you're,
yeah, you're right.
that's
That's
your
true.
face is
And it
dead.
became, and you just gotta, and it goes to their heads, like all the actors, they want more and you gotta talk them down, say, "You can be replaced, be careful, don't push the client."
Have you ever had that experience where you're like shooting a commercial, you got it almost done, and then had to let somebody go and redo it?
Wow, good question. I've had commercials where I've had to switch actors in the middle of it, and that change roles because. So what happens is what I talked about earlier. I'm casting a character. I'm looking for the guy. I'm not necessarily looking for someone that can act like the guy. So sometimes I find the guy. That's the guy. That is the guy that rides his lawnmower on Saturday morning at 6 o'clock in the morning and wakes everybody up. That's him. So, and everyone agrees he's perfect for the spot. Then you get on the set and the client says, "How about if he says this?" And okay, let's try it. And he can't. And now they're fixed on that. No, we like him saying that, but he can't do it. He just can't do it. So now it's not fair to the actor because you didn't cast him for that, So and it's so specific. The client wants him to do it this way, and guys, we didn't cast for that. We didn't cast for that line.
Interesting.
He was really good at doing what you wrote. He did it great. Now you changed it. So we should have cast for this guy. You want him to be more, you liked that he was angry. Now you want him to be not so angry. He's not good, not angry. So why are we switching it up? Well, we changed our mind. We like it better. It's just not working. He's not good at it. So there's a couple of cases, maybe once or twice in my career, where I've had to take another actor and say, let's try him. He works. Okay, now we got to reshoot everything.
Wow.
Yeah, it's happened a couple of times. It's so unfair too. And you got to talk the actor down. You know, like it's not your fault. You were hired for this, and they switched it up on you.
Is there anything that an actor can do? The commercial world is extremely cutthroat. Like it's insane. And if you just don't have red hair today, kind of like what you're saying. I mean, when you have a vision, I get auditions all the time for stuff. I read the script. I'm like, it's not me.
Yeah.
It's just not me. I know how I can do this great, but I know it's not me because I know that the director doesn't vision me.
Yeah.
What can an actor do to go into a commercial
And steal it? And
try to steal that commercial? Yeah.
That's a tough one, you know, and I can only speak from my experience because I don't know if other directors have the same prevision of what they want. I think a lot of directors go in hoping
They discover something.
they discover something.
Yeah. Okay.
I go in thinking, this is what I need. I need this. And I hope I find this. If I don't, then hopefully someone like you comes in and says something that, or says it a certain way that no one ever thought of, and then it's like, okay, that's interesting. That works.
Well,
That's
and
cool.
now everything is a backdrop, home video, gray thing behind me.
Yeah,
It's all the same shit.
yeah,
What can they do differently?
yeah. That's hard, especially because you're not being directed, right?
Right.
It's a self tape.
Yeah.
I'm not sure now.
You're not getting any context.
So what used to happen is I would talk to, Brian Levy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Brian was my casting agent here in Toronto
Yeah, I really like Brian,
forever.
actually.
Yeah.
Great
He's
guy.
a real nice guy. So I would talk to Brian and I would say, Brian, because it used to be in a room, Brian would run a casting session. You would walk in a room and I would say, Brian, I want you to work them. I want you to work them in this area. I'm looking for that subtlety, a subtle, very subtle chuckle in their voice. And now, and he would work them that. Then when I'm looking at them, everyone's doing the chuckle. Everyone's doing what I asked for. So everyone's doing a version of that. And if someone can do it, I call them back. If they can't, I maybe there's something else about them that I like, I'll bring them back. But so I'm asking for such a specific thing that it, I don't know how it's done now. I honestly don't know. Are you given any direction at all?
There's the odd time.
Yeah, sometimes, but
Not a lot.
general. It's all like usually pretty general notes.
Right.
Play it. It's a comedy, but you don't gotta play it comedically.
Right.
We're looking for real. Whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe something like that, but you just kind of okay.
So it sounds like it's more of a shotgun approach now. They're just throwing everything out there and they just weed through it and see what they want. Whereas mine were a little more focused.
Well, you can also tell. I mean, even if I get 3 pages of script, I can still tell the writer is okay. The production's
Yeah.
fine, and you can sort of, if you have any common sense, or you can sort of weigh how
Figure it
you,
out.
yeah, you sort of figure out what maybe they're feeling on the other
Well,
end.
you have to make
Try
a choice.
Try to
You
play
do.
with that.
You do, and honestly, even in my career, I have to make a choice when I'm pitching a job, when I'm trying to win a project. It's, sometimes they just hand it to me, like the Tiger stuff just got handed to me, and I didn't have to win it.
Sure.
A lot of times I'm auditioning too. I got to call them and say, "This is how I see it," and hope they pick me.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So for me, my attitude is always, and it's a sort of a bag of riches. I had a lot of choices of projects to choose from. So my attitude was, well, I'm going to go for it. This is the way I see it. And if they don't like it, that's okay.
Totally.
They'll hire somebody else. So I was never afraid to miss it. So I swung big all the time. So it's a hard thing. If you're an actor who's struggling and you need the job, swinging big is hard because you're making a commitment.
Yeah.
And, but walking the line is hard too because you're not standing out.
Exactly.
So-
Exactly.
So it's
What are your thoughts on using props in auditions? Like if you had to speak on a telephone,
yeah.
should you hold a telephone?
Yeah, sure. I think so.
Okay.
I think body language helps. Like some guy takes the phone. He's doing this. It's one thing. Other guys are like this, and and then someone else is doing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
totally.
So I think it's something.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
Because that's the thing. Because there's a lot of guidance. There's a lot of guidance on YouTube or
Yeah.
from acting coaches out of Toronto, but they're all different,
Yeah.
and they all some say a prop.
What
What do you mean by a prop?
do you think about dressing for like if you were supposed to play a policeman, should you dress like a policeman? Should you?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, I think it shows me you're interested. It shows me you're invested. That you.
That's interesting.
So yeah, I mean, I don't require it, but if someone does, it's like, okay, the guy cares.
And what if he has a giant beard because he's hoping for the bearded role, but he's got a cop audition?
That's the other thing, and that's you got to say up front. First thing you say, this beard can go, or I'm in the middle of this, and maybe hold up a picture without the beard.
Oh,
But-
that's
but-
interesting.
But saying it right away is good because me watching you and falling in love with you and not knowing, it's like fuck.
Yeah,
True.
He'd be great without the beard or half the beard or or can he even cut the beard? Then I've got to call the casting agent. Is he gonna cut the beard? So
Right. So you
Yeah.
cut out the middleman and just tell them.
I'd be good to
Yeah, that's a good idea.
just say.
I personally never said it, and I'm not going to.
like it's you get your guidelines when you slate. This is all you say. Don't say any more. Don't say less.
Yeah.
But half the time you're like, yeah, but I want this job.
Yeah.
Well, if I'm only saying this, and so is every other fucking.
Oh, you mean?
I want to tell them about
in a
my
slate.
beard. I want to tell them about.
Oh yeah.
Does that make sense?
So yeah, it does. So I would. So saying the slate is not for me. It's for the editor.
Oh, okay.
Like,
I don't know.
Like he's got to find. He's got to know who you are quickly. So if you talk in the middle of it, he's like, oh fuck. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
so
I guess that makes sense.
so when he's putting the tape together for me, I like guy number 7, number 8, number 9, number 10. He's editing it. He's just looking for your slate. If you're talking in the middle of it, he's like, oh fuck.
Okay.
That's
So it's
So
better.
I would say I do it the way they want it, and then say, oh, by the way, the beard is removable, or I can't remove it till March because I'm doing a show.
doing a show. Yeah.
Copy that.
That
Interesting.
kind of thing. So the slate is more of a business thing. It's like get it out of the way, keep it clean so they can use it. Also, when they edit it together for the client just says, here's your name, boom, and then the tape. So if they hear, hi, I'm Brian and I got a beard, but I don't want this. Oh, fuck. They're fighting to edit it out.
Yeah.
So just
Okay.
keep the slate clean and then just say what you need to say about anything else.
That makes sense.
What I would do.
I'll admit I'm taking some notes here myself.
No,
but
that's okay. No,
this is great stuff for those listening. They need to hear it because it is a hard business out there.
Yeah.
And if at all you want to see your dream happen at all, you do have to work for it.
Well, one thing that impressed me so much when I started directing, I wasn't aware. So I started directing, and then all of a sudden I'm in a casting session. Like I don't know any of my casting sessions. I knew a little bit because on the agency side I had attended some, but all of a sudden I'm in charge now. I've got to find the actor. So I realized pretty quickly that. I have to learn how to get what I need out of them fast. Like I got 2 minutes in the room with them. How do I get that? How do I get that out of there? So I had to learn to find a comfort area real quick. But what impressed me the most was the amount of work, and I'm not talking about every actor, but the amount of work actors do, commercial actors even, in their craft. Like I was really impressed. In my mind, it was like, I know buddies say, oh, I want to do commercials. I can be an actor. I could do that. And it's like, and I tell them all the time, the people I meet in the casting rooms, they take voice lessons. They take acting lessons. They take dance lessons. They take movement lessons. They take body lessons. They're working at this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know that. And that was so impressive to me. It was like, on a whim, I would say, you know, someone would come in and I want to see how malleable they are. I want to see if I tell them jump, they can jump. I want to just see what control I have, especially early in my career. It was like a new toy. It was like, okay, you know, it's like, okay, I want you to sing the line. Sing it. Yeah, I want you to sing it because I just want to hear you loosen up a bit. And the guy could sing, you know.
Interesting.
Okay, tap dance while you're singing. And the guy could tap dance. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, you know, and more and more I started seeing people that were really invested in their craft and working at it. And I was like, holy shit, I didn't realize it. And they are really good at it. And, you know, and it's not just I'm going to do commercials on the side. This is their life.
Yeah.
And they worked at it. And it was so impressive to me. It was like, holy shit. I totally big respect for them, you know, and it's a difficult job. Like you come in, you get rejected 10 times a day. Like,
Yeah. There's only one spot, one person,
yeah.
and all the rest come in and trying.
Yeah. And it's, you know, and it's, I used to see, you know, probably 200 people for a role in a commercial. And it was funny because when I lived in Toronto, I first started directing, like if I'm doing a casting session in a day, I would see 200 people on tape, and then we would whittle it down to 10 that I pick. And one day I was at a movie theater with my wife. We're walking movie theater, and the guy at the ticket counter says, "Steve Chase, hey, hi." I'm like, "Hi," and my wife says, "You know him?" Not a clue. And this happened over and over and over again.
Sure.
And then one day I just said, "Do I know you? Yeah, I was in your casting session."
Oh.
And I'm like, holy shit. Like I realized they see one director,
That's right.
you know.
Yeah,
I see
you see
200 of them. I don't remember them, but they remember me. And I'm like, holy shit. It started realizing that, you know, like I eventually, especially in LA, everyone's an actor.
Yeah.
You know, the standard joke is, what do you do? I'm an actor. Oh, really? What restaurant do you work at?
Right.
You know?
Totally.
And it's the truth. It's not a joke. So, but
So, you got any advice for anybody that wants to be a commercial director?
boy, it's changed so much. So I'm a storyteller.
Mm-hmm.
I think if more than a director, I'm a storyteller. I think I've learned, and I made a conscious decision early in my career to tell a good story. Anybody can shoot a whole bunch of pictures and stick them together and edit it to a Rolling Stones track and make a cool spot. Anybody can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But to tell a comprehensive 30-second or 60-second story that has a beginning, a middle, and end, and it works and sells the product, that's a big discipline and a big craft that's hard to learn. If I could tell anybody anything, it would be, if you want a long career, become a storyteller. If you want to just put images together and put it to a cool track, you're fashion. You're going to come and go fast. You're bell bottoms. Like you're not going to be around long because
Nothing wrong with bell bottoms.
yeah.
Yeah.
So storytellers will always live,
Yes.
because it's just the way life is. But the guy that just does music, they're guys that are really good at it.
Sure.
Lifestyle, a bunch of people, insurance commercials, people walking down the beach, people eating dinner, people doing that. There's guys that are really good at it, but those aren't stories, and they're just little vignettes.
There are spots that are airing now that I have no idea what the product is.
And they're vignettes, and they're people that are really good at it and really make a lot of money doing those spots because it's hard to do. It's hard. I struggle doing those kind of spots because there's no story, and it's like just somebody eating in a restaurant and somebody walking down the beach and somebody how do you make that interesting? But there are guys that do it really well, but their careers aren't long because they're fashion, that they got a style.
Yeah, makes sense.
And then their style's gone. Storytelling lives forever. So I made a conscious decision very early on in my career to be a storyteller. And if I could give anybody advice, be a storyteller and you'll have a bigger chance.
Okay, so let's say you're a great storyteller and you write scripts that truly are above all else. Does the agency or whoever you're selling this to, do they realize that? Do they see the talent that is sitting on that page?
Well, so the ad agency writes the scripts.
Okay. Okay.
So they give them to me.
I see.
But what they see in my reel is, and they don't even know they see it. I'll tell you this, my secret, in a second. They don't even know they see it. They see somebody, when they look at my reel, they see fast-moving, entertaining storyline that goes from A to B and works and sells the product, and it's entertaining, and you want to watch it again. That's what they see, and that's ultimately the only thing you hope in advertising, that somebody wants to watch your commercial again. And if they do, then you've won. You won the war. You know.
Okay.
For me, the benchmark is: do I want to see that again?
Yeah.
Yes. If I don't, next. So for me, it was always how can I guarantee people are going to watch that again? You know. So it becomes entertainment. It becomes how I tell the story. It becomes what the camera's doing. Is that part of it? So the agency can look at my reel. They write a script. You know, a guy goes into a store. He buys 6 bottles of Pepsi, but he sees a Coke bottle, and he throws all the Pepsi away and buys a Coke. You know, they write that. I come in and say, hey, what about if we did it like this, like this, like this, like this? And I put it together in a prettier package for them and hopefully add to it or show them a way they never thought of it. Mm-hmm. And again, swinging for the fences. I'll say, you know, it'd be way funnier if. And if they say no, okay, have a good shoot. But if they like it, I'm well on my way of doing it exactly the way I want it, because they just bought it. You know, they just bought my idea. So now it's...
So you give them your interpretation
I do.
of what they do.
That's how I get my jobs.
Right. And swinging for the fences, I think, is an incredible suggestion to anyone about what they do, a choice you make, because I can always push you back.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult sometimes to draw you out.
Well, that's funny you say that, because that's my credo a little bit. It's like if I even... So there's a double-edged sword, because like I said earlier, you swing for the fences. A lot of, you know, Babe Ruth struck out 250 times when he hit 61 home runs. No one knows about those strikeouts. They only know 60 home runs.
That's the truth.
You know, so you strike out a lot, but when you get one, it's going to be a better one because you swung for the fences. It's going to be a home run. So my attitude was always, I got nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I'm just going to I don't need the work. I want the work. I'm fortunate. I was fortunate that way. I didn't need the work. I was busy enough doing a bunch of stuff. So I kept swinging for fences and kept winning the job.
Getting it over the fences.
So it was like, okay. So, and my attitude was always, I talked about this in part 1, where my ideas were always to enhance their advertising, not just enhance the film. Like, and always do something that's going to make the advertising better. They will never say no.
Yeah.
Because it's making the ad better.
Yeah.
So I could always get what I wanted that way, and it was smart way to do it, but it was also fun. I loved the challenge of reverse engineering their scripts and then fixing them. You know, like, I can make it better. I can make this better. I can make this better. And then I get on the phone with them and say, this is how I'm going to make it.
Now, did you ever get pushback? Like the writers, these copywriters, they think they're brilliant.
Yeah.
And they've spent weeks on a particular spot. And then you come in and say...
Yes, so it works 2 ways. The truly talented ones recognize that I've helped them.
Absolutely. There's a confidence issue there.
Yes, huge. The ones that are less confident and ego's in the way, what the fuck? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah, right on.
Don't rewrite my shit.
Yeah, and they're annoyed that I did that, which is, you know, and that's why I always kept any ideas I had relevant to the script and not just random ideas, because they couldn't say you're wrong.
Right.
They could say I don't like it, but they couldn't say I was wrong, because, you know. So
interesting.
So they wouldn't hire me. Those people just wouldn't hire me. So I ended up, the nice part of that is I ended up people that ended up hiring me were people that loved my input, and they encouraged it, and they wanted me to. The ones that didn't hire me again.
Which is interesting because that's why I would bring you on.
You'd think that
You would think.
but he's got that way about him
Yeah.
specifically.
You think, well, I mean, honestly, it's the way I ran my career. Hire people better than you.
Oh my God, yes.
Always, in every position, you will look good.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't have that. A lot
When
of
I,
people
when I hire stunt
Right.
performers, I tell them all, I need your entire career today. I don't need you to be a yes man. I need you to come up with ideas better than me.
Yeah,
And if you can do it in front of the director, look how smart I was.
that's the thing. But that takes confidence.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have it. A lot of people are insecure, and they're it's my idea. It's my idea. It's my idea. Why you? That's not my idea. That's your idea. You know, they protect their idea instead of letting it grow.
You know, the best part of this is it was my idea to have Steve here. Okay.
You.
So I liken it to you know, there are two kinds of directors. There's directors and there's dictators.
Yes.
You know, some guys like, and I hope this is me, where I hire people that are better than me and bring them in, and hopefully they all show me something I couldn't find. And there's directors that do this.
Yeah.
Do it like this.
Yeah.
I don't care what you want to do. Do it like this.
Which I've personally never understood. But
The problem with it is it's ego, and you know, and the guy might be a genius, and they may be a genius. And I've had times in my career where I've had to stomp my foot down because it wasn't going the way it was supposed to, and I had to gather everything back in and say, do it this way.
right.
But it's not the way I start. I start with help me.
Yeah.
100%. But that's again why you're brought on.
Yeah,
Because only one person can steer this ship.
yeah,
And despite the fact everybody's got great ideas about where to put the sail and how to
Yeah.
use this flag, that's fine. But at one point, you have to make
Yeah.
a decision, and we're doing
Ultimately.
this.
Ultimately,
way
I
to
have to
put it.
gather it all in. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and but it empowers everybody too. Like they like working for you because you're
Absolutely.
you're encouraging everybody to you know, work with me here. And every now and then you have to say, no, we're doing it this way. Like, it didn't work. All that didn't work. Let's do it this way. But this is, you know, the thumb print on everything is another way of directing. And does it work? Yeah, there are some people that are so good and so stylish. Like, this is the way I do it. All my spots look like this. I want them to look like this. I don't want your idea. I want it to be like this. And they do, and it works. But it never gets better than them. Never. And that's my hope, is that it always gets better than me. And you know, it's a confidence thing. I didn't come into it. I came into directing when I was 33, so I was already an adult. I wasn't a young kid
Right.
who was, you know, I already had a perspective on
Yeah.
on who I was. I wasn't learning about who I was. It was a new career, but so I didn't have to grow up in the middle of it. I was already grown up, and I could handle my ego.
That's incredible.
So it helped. But telling stories in 30 seconds, 60 seconds is a major. If you look at my reel, I put a lot of shit in 30 seconds. Like, you can really, like, whoa, holy crap. And I didn't know I was doing it. It just sort of evolved, and I'd figured out a way of doing it in my head, but I never really thought about it. And one day, I was in a pre-production meeting with a client, and it was a big spot for AT&T, and the budget was like $1 million. And we're in New Jersey, and we're in a big ballroom in a hotel having a pre-production meeting. And in the pre-production meeting, I'm going through every aspect of the commercial for the client. I'm going through my shooting board. I'm going through the casting, the wardrobe, everything. So the client sits there and they hear every single detail before the shoot the next day. I'm sitting there, and it's time for me to go through my shooting boards. It's a 30-second commercial. It's a little story. And I'm going through my boards, and I've got 20 shots. It's a 30-second commercial. I've got 20 shots I want to do. And the client stops, this lady, she stops me and she says, whoa, hang on a second. Like 3/4 of the way through. She said, this is a 30-second commercial. You've got 22 shots in 30-second commercial. Like, is this going to be like, just, how are the shots even going to work? Like 1 second each? And I had never thought about it. I've never thought about the process. And in that moment, it became crystal clear to me. And I just said, all right, bear with me. So I said, and in the ballroom, in this boardroom we were in, there was a Coke machine in the corner and about 30 yards away, not 30 yards, but 20 feet away. And I said, okay, I'm going to do a little test with you here. I'm going to film you going to get that Coke, get a Coke out of that machine, okay? She says, I said, just fake it. Just fake like you're putting money in, but I'm going to film you doing that. Let's go. So I started doing this with my hand, make a camera, and I said, okay, get up. Okay, walk over there. And I followed her over to the machine. And I said, okay, put some money in the slot. She puts money in the slot. Okay, select your Coke. Okay, select your Coke. Good. Okay, now, oh, here's the Coke. Pick it up. Okay, walk back. Okay, sit down. Okay, and pop the lid on the Coke can. Okay, boom, great. So I asked someone to time it. So someone timed it. They said that was 94 seconds. 94 seconds, one shot. We did it in one shot, 94 seconds. Or I can do a shot of you standing up, a shot of coins going in the slot, a shot of your finger hitting the button, a shot of the Coke falling down, you sitting down going, pshk. There's 6 shots, 3 seconds. And she said, okay, I'll shut up.
Yeah, big time.
You know,
Fucking A, yeah.
and it dawned on me at that moment that I had learned the shorthand of making TV commercials over the years, and I'd never thought about it that way. But it just was natural to me. Like, okay, I need all those shots to cut time.
That was a great lesson right there, in and of itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, I learned so much in that moment that when I had to explain it to her, I was explaining it to me how I think. And I was like, huh, never thought about how I thought before, but that's what I do. I need all those shots to cut time. And more shots to cut time. And she was just like, oh, okay, I'll be quiet now. And I was even sitting there going, oh, fuck.
Boy, am I ever smart.
That was good. You know?
Now, after all this time, when you look back at your career, what are you most proud of?
Boy, that's a big question.
It's a big career to be proud of, but what?
Yeah.
what
Part 1 of the Going Again podcast.
Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
A.
What am I proud of? Wow, that's a good one. Just the integrity. I think the integrity I had in my work and the you know, I worked hard at it. I never took it for granted. I loved what I do. I'm proud that, you know, nothing in my background says I should be doing this. I should have succeeded. Nothing. There's nothing in my background that says this was obvious. And I'm proud that I came from, you know, a kid on the streets to being successful at this. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the effort. I'm proud of only doing work I believed in. You know, I turned down so much work. I could be way richer right now, way richer. I turned down so much work because I didn't believe in it. You know, so it was like, drove everybody nuts, drove my producers nuts, drove the production companies nuts because they're looking at work fly out the window. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
We could make so much money. Steve's turning it down. Oh, fuck. And it cost me friendships.
Yeah.
Like a couple of companies, I refused to do shit work, and they needed to do shit work. They needed to pay the bills, and I refused to do the work. You know, so they were like, well, fuck, you're not helping us.
Now, is there any regret in any of that?
You know, now that you know, I've gotten to where I am, whatever that is. I look back and say, could I have made way more money and still be where I am? You know?
Yeah.
Or, you know, maybe. And I don't know, because it's a reputation thing, right? So, like...
You said you held on to your integrity.
Yeah,
That's
so
a huge deal.
And it's good and it's bad. And I have a really good integrity story. Remind me in a second about Ford.
Okay.
Remind me about Ford. So, the integrity thing, it was never about money. It was always about do good work. And if I do good work, money will follow. People will come. So to me, it was like my worst scenario, my worst thing in my whole life was someone looking at one of my spots and going, like,
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
blow me
Yeah,
up.
yeah, yeah.
Like that was just like, fuck, that would be a disaster. Like, no, you gotta hate it, love it, but don't go, eh. Like, just give me a reaction, big, either side. I'm okay with either side, but don't be in the middle. So that's the way I approach things. It was always like, do the best you can do, work harder than anybody. Never, failure is not an option. No is not an answer. It's, no. Someone say, no, we can't do that. No, fuck. Don't tell me that. We can do it. Just
Let's figure out how.
tell me what the problems are. We'll figure it out. And one of my worst nightmares is a producer that wants to put out fires. It's my worst nightmare. Like, to me, it's like they're dangerous to me. So so an example would be, we got a shoot coming up and I don't know the producer, like my producer's busy or on vacation. So I've got a producer I'm not familiar with. Producer comes in, we talk, he says, what equipment do you need? I need a techno crane. I need this, I need that. I need 600 feet of track, whatever. I tell her exactly what I want. And then she goes off and starts gathering things. And she can't get a techno crane, but she doesn't tell me. She's just going to keep trying.
Oh.
She's going to keep trying to get a techno crane.
I see.
So now 2 days before the shoot, she says, I can't find a techno crane.
I see.
Why didn't you tell me? Well, I was trying to find one to make sure you were happy.
Communication line needs to be open.
Now it's a disaster because fuck, there's a day left.
Everything you prepped for was a techno crane.
Yeah. So now, and she should have told me and I would have changed my plan.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, I can't find a techno crane. So my worst, and she's just trying to do her best, or he is trying to do his best and
Totally.
trying to save the day. But he's burying me while he's doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And that's my worst nightmare, is that someone tries to put out a fire and now it's too late. The fucking house is gone, Like, just
That's interesting.
tell me you got a
Yeah.
problem, we'll figure it out. So that's my worst fear in the business, is like, and I have a reputation in town here and LA being tough, being some people think I'm a prick, but it's always based on one thing. Work hard. I have no problem. You fuck up while you're working hard, I have no problem. You fuck up because you're lazy, we have a problem. If you tell me you're going to bring 6 green chairs or a techno crane, bring the 6 green chairs and we'll have no problem. But if you show up with 5 and you didn't tell me you were bringing 5, we got a problem. So for me, it's always, I'm fair. Just do exactly what you tell me you're going to do. We have no issues. But don't ad lib and don't, just tell me. If there's a problem, tell me. I can react. I can change it. I can help you solve it. Don't show up and say, I couldn't find any.
Yeah. Wow.
Now because I'm so organized in my shoot, now all of a sudden,
That makes so much sense.
It does, but it happens all the time.
But some producer doesn't want to break it to you.
No, they're trying to be the hero.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They want to solve it. Oh, no techno. I'll find a techno. Fuck, I'll find a techno crane.
Yeah.
Just tell me you don't have a techno crane and I'll figure out another way to do it. But telling me the day before, now I can't even get the other thing.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like, but it happens. So that's my, I'm not sure what the question was, but that was the
It's
answer.
all good. Let's talk about Ford.
Yeah, let's go back to
Integrity.
Ford.
So integrity and loyalty. Those are two things that sort of go together. And I got really lucky in the sense, like those relationships I talked about, like with Tiger Woods, it's really rare to have a long relationship with somebody. I got 2 big relationships with ad agencies in my business, in my career. One was the Bud Light agency. So I did 1 Bud Light spot and all of a sudden I did 50 Bud Light spots. So over the next 10 years, I just worked on Bud Light all the time, every time, Super Bowls, 25 Super Bowl spots, just churning out Bud Light spots. While that was going on the other side, there's BBDO, which is the Pepsi, Frito-Lay agency. I started working with them. And I did 1 Pepsi spot, and all of a sudden, another Pepsi spot, Super Bowl spots, Frito-Lay, Doritos. So they kept me busy for 10 years. So these 2 agencies kept me really busy for 10 years. And I made a lot of money just with 2 clients, really. 2 agencies that just kept sending me work because I kept hitting out of the park for them. As long as you're hitting home runs, they'll send you work. As soon as you hit a single, oh, fuck. You know?
Yeah.
So these 2 agencies send me work. And their clients, I'm loyal to. Bud Light. You know, you send me a Miller spot, I'm going to have a hard time doing that Miller spot. That's just me. Everyone thinks I'm fucking nuts. So Ford and Coca-Cola were the 2. I did so many Pepsi spots. I did so many. In Canada here, I did all the GM spots. Pontiac and GM for years and years and years. That's all I did up here was GM and car stuff. I get a call from Don McLean one day, and he said, Steve, you know, the Ford GT40 just came out in 2006. Remember the...
Yeah, beautiful car.
Yeah, the supercar. You familiar with it? Yeah, so they just came out. And
it was like the old one that they brought back.
Le Mans, yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful car, like a $250,000 supercar. Just came out, and Ford in Toronto wanted to do a spot with it. So Don McLean calls me, and he knew I'd love cars, so he said, I got a spot for you with the GT40. I said, what? Ford GT40. And I said, holy fuck, yeah. So got on the phone with the ad agency. We talked about it, and they give me the job. And Don calls me, he says, okay, we got it, we're doing it. It's oh, fuck, great. And then I woke up the next morning, and I said, I can't do that commercial. I can't. So I called Don, and I said, Don, I can't do the Ford spot. And he said, why? Why? Are you booked? I said, no. GM has been so good to me. I've done so much work with GM. If I do that spot and it's good, I'm making their life harder. Like the guys that are taking care of me, I'm competing against them. I can't do it. And he's like, what?
Yeah.
Are you crazy?
Wild, man.
You crazy? So I said, these guys are my friends now. It's like cheating on them. Like going to go do a Ford commercial. I can't do it. He's like, oh my God. I said, you're nuts. He said, okay, I'll tell him. So
So you didn't do the spot.
No.
So now that's your integrity.
Yeah.
Now, could you have gone to GM, your buddies, and say, hey, listen, I have this opportunity?
So the same thing happened on Pepsi. and this came around. So Pepsi, I'm doing all these Pepsi commercials for the Super Bowl and big, huge spots with Michael Richards and
Oh, yeah.
a lot of famous people. And we're doing these spots, and then I get a call to do a Coca-Cola spot. And I was like, same thing. Around the same time, I was like, I can't do the Coca-Cola spot. But it was a really good spot. So I called the guy, the ad agency at Pepsi. And I said, his name was Michael Patty. And I said, Michael, I got a dilemma. He said, what's up? I said, you know, you guys have been so good to me, and you've given me so much work over the years. And I know it's day to day, and I know you don't owe me anything. I don't, you know, but I got a Coke commercial to do, and I want to know if it would piss you off if I did this commercial. And he said, look, I can't promise you I'm going to send you more work tomorrow because things change, who knows? But would I be annoyed? Yeah, I'd be annoyed. I said,
Oh, wow.
I said, okay, that's all. Thanks.
Oh, okay. So you didn't do that Coke.
No. I ended up doing one later. After I stopped working on Pepsi, I ended up doing one here for Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But I just...
I mean, Coke's better anyway.
Yeah. So it was like, I just felt like I owed it to them, you know? Like,
Yeah. No, and I absolutely agree.
And Don thought I was nuts. He said, your career's short, you know? He said, your career's short. You got to make money while you can. I was like, they've given me enough money.
But what's interesting about that, saying your career is short, if you went against your personal beliefs and your integrity, your career might have been a
short.
whole lot shorter.
I don't know if GM would have still given me work, and I don't know if Pepsi
Exactly.
would have still given me work.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Don't know, you know?
I mean, loyalty in general really is the cohesion across this entire industry. Like, I think about the stunt thing. If you got a day on a show tomorrow and you get called tonight to come in on another show tomorrow, but it's 4 days. If you screw that loyalty on that first day, I mean,
Yep.
Yeah.
that's detrimental to a lot more than just yourself. And and
A lot of guys would
you
beg off and take the 4.
yeah, because the money now. But man, there's so many more currencies than just this money.
Are you booked? Are you booked on that first day, or
Yeah,
just,
like
or
if-
just sort of hold?
Yeah,
No, you're
you're
booked.
booked.
You're
You're
booked.
booked. I mean, it's
bail?
happened.
You
man.
bail? Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's
you
there's
bail.
been
Oof.
bailers, and
Now, having said that,
they've learned a hard lesson.
I personally have been offered the same thing. I've had a day or two. I've
Yeah.
been offered 5 or 4,
Yeah,
and I don't do it. I refuse. I'm going to take who booked me first.
Yeah.
But there have been occasions where guys have called me and said, "Randy,
but that's still
I have
part
a
of
day."
that's holding on to that loyalty.
That's true, and I
know.
just say, "No, you run with it because you're not so."
But at least he called you.
That's correct.
You know.
That's a big deal. If somebody calls and tries to work it out
Yeah.
and is trying to like flip things and make things
Yeah.
work, you gotta help some. Like I mean, there's a part
some-
of you too.
Sometimes it can work, and sometimes no. Fuck, I need you for that drive, man. I need you for that stunt. Like,
Well, yeah, if you're hiring
Yeah.
for a specific skill and a look,
yeah.
and
I
I
mean, it
need
is what
you,
it is.
that's
Yeah.
that. But that guy, he's going to understand, I imagine.
Yeah.
And it's and you don't know. You just don't know. You know, it's not a full time job, so you don't know what's going to happen.
Totally.
You know, so one day, for 10 years, I'm doing all the Pepsi stuff, and one day, the guy that hired me leaves.
Yeah.
It's over.
Fuck. Yeah.
It's over. Boom. Like, oh, where are you
Yeah.
going? Whoa. You can't leave.
That's hilarious.
Man.
Anyway, so then 2019, I got a phone call. I was probably riding my tractor, and I got a call from the Art Directors Club of Toronto, and this lady says, Steve Chase, yeah, you have a minute? Yeah, I'm so and so from the Art Directors Club of Toronto. You've been awarded the Les Usherwood Award, lifetime achievement. And I was just like, what? What are you talking about? So she told me, and I was like, she said, would you come to Toronto to accept it? And I was like, holy crap. Yeah, crazy. So she said, I sent you an email with the info. So I hung up and I literally cried. I was just like,
Yeah.
it was overwhelming.
Yeah.
Just overwhelming. It's like, holy shit. Like, you don't know that. I didn't even know it was on the radar, So someone had brought my name up in a meeting.
That's respect, brother.
Someone brought my name at a meeting, and and it's like all these years later, I win a big Canadian award, and I don't even live here. So it's because I had done so much Canadian work, and I'm Canadian. So it was like they recognized the two things. I don't know if you looked at the speech that I did there, but it was like, Terry O'Reilly had introduced me, and he said, one of the cool things about Steve is he went to the States and he made it. A lot of people go and don't make it, And I was like, oh, okay. I never thought of it, but if making it, whatever that means. But anyway,
Were you ever trying to make it? Was there like was that relevant, or were you just like, the work will get me there?
Or did you just do the work?
just did the work. I didn't even know on the radar. Like, we talked about awards too, what they meant, and I'll tell you what they meant to me. At the beginning, like, I won a couple of hundred awards before I, and it was like, yeah, okay, that's great. Win awards, just keep working. Never focused on awards. Awards are weird things, just like the Oscars. They're bought. You have to pay money to. You apply for the award. They don't just nominate you. You submit work to try and win it. Like, would you consider me? So I get you guys get the screeners for your consideration.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sure.
they're buying. They're advertising. Hey, try him, pick him. So in the advertising business, the same thing. The awards come. You have to submit applications, like, for the competition. So the ad agencies typically send the ads in to win awards.
Mm-hmm.
It's valuable to them, that they have a shelf full of awards they've won for their clients. So I would get phone calls saying you won an award. I didn't submit it; they did. So I ended up with like 36 Clios. Like the Clios are like the Oscars of
Unbelievable,
and,
man.
And it's like I was just busy working. I wasn't pursuing them. They would call me and say, "Hey, we won a Clio." Oh, great! We're sending you a statue. Great. So what they meant to me in the end was they helped me get my green card.
Ah, yeah.
Okay.
When I moved to the States,
It's one of the stipulations.
Well, my lawyer, the production company I was with, hired a lawyer, and the lawyer calls me and he says, we have to create a profile for you. Do you have any special, you ever win any awards? I said, oh yeah, like hundreds. And he's like, hundreds? What are you talking about? Literally, he said, literally hundreds? I said, yeah. So he said, do you have them? Yeah, I got them. I need them. So I said, well, I can give you photos of the trophies, and I have all the paper awards in a box somewhere. And he said, hundreds? Yeah. He said, holy shit, yeah, we need them. So part of the process of getting your green card is you have to prove that you're a talent that they can't find.
Right.
Yeah.
Next door.
You're unique. Yeah.
So the awards meant something finally, So I was like, oh shit, who knew?
They were like a ticket.
Who knew these awards? And then there's one other, so the Lifetime Achievement Award was crazy. That was just like, holy shit, like someone's paying attention. That for me, it was like, wow.
Yeah, that's nice.
Somebody noticed. That was awesome, and I got.
See, but you didn't have to apply for that.
No, I didn't. That one I didn't have to apply. But somebody put my name in the ring at some point, which is great.
Right, but that ring was very small. I
It's
imagine.
different. Yeah.
That's real acknowledgement.
It was. I didn't apply for that one. Very good. But so that was great. My family was there, and to win that was awesome. There was another one that was really big for me, and it changed me. It changed me inside, big time. The DGA, Directors Guild of America, 1997. I was nominated for Director of the Year, the DGA, and that was like, again, it was like, okay, cool. I didn't know. And then the guy who ran the production company said, this is a big deal that you're nominated here, And I was like, oh, okay. Like he said, you should bring your folks down, and it's a big night. It's a big deal, like Hollywood. I was like, oh, okay. And so he said, you don't get it. I said, no. He said, you're there with Scorsese. You're there with Spielberg. You're there with, that's a big night, the DGA Awards. It's paparazzi. It's everything. I say, oh, okay, cool. So my mom came down, everyone got dressed up. I rented a tux, and we go there, red carpet. Holy shit! Get in the award, and then they get to the commercial category, and I'm sitting there with my wife, and I just said, they named everybody. There was four other directors nominated, big guys, like famous guys, and I looked at my wife and I said, I don't want to win. She's looking at me like, what? I was almost panicked. And my mom's looking at me. I said, I don't want to win. She said, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is not good. I don't want to win this award. And she's like, why? I said, what happens next year? If I don't win it next year, am I done? Like I'm not good anymore?
Yeah.
I don't want this. I don't want this award. I don't want to win. I didn't win. I was happy. I didn't want to be measured like that. It was like,
that's interesting.
it was just hit me
Yeah.
like a brick in the head. I don't want to win this. And they're all looking at me like, you're nuts. It's just like next year if I don't win, I'll be really depressed. If I win and then I don't win and I don't win and I don't win, like shit.
Yeah, I get that.
Never recover. So I prefer not to win. So I stopped. I made sure they never entered me again. I said, don't submit my stuff anymore. I don't want to be here.
Oh, wow.
Which is really freaking weird, but
I'm recently, I don't know, this might be a little bit off topic, but Jay-Z, it's all in the media, Jay-Z bitching that Beyonce didn't get her Grammy.
Yeah. Yeah.
What sorry, I just want to say, what the fuck?
I know. No, I agree. It's like,
Well, Taylor Swift wins it, but she doesn't deserve it. Beyonce It's like she's got like a gazillion of them. Well, I don't get it.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. It's just
Especially if it's bought and paid for and all this political.
so the problem is everyone's got a voice now, right? Everyone's got, between TikTok and Twitter and X, everyone can just spout off
Yeah.
anytime, anywhere, and it gets publicized. And so everyone sitting at these awards who don't win, someone is whispering in your ear, you should have won. You should have won that. You know, your performance was better. Now they're typing it on social media, and it's so Jay-Z saying that. He's creating a stir, and he's making his wife happy, and he's telling the Academy where you fucked up.
Free advertising.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, Steve, this was an incredible chat, man. Holy fuck. Well, I feel like you got to come in for part 3. Next time you feel like coming up, driving up.
Yeah. Well, I felt better. I mean, this one, at least we talked about my career.
I don't know. You know, the last one was incredible. And I had a lot of people actually told me that, you know, just your information and stuff is incredible. So
yeah, I've been through a lot. You know, I've been through a bunch of stages of it and seen a lot and observed a lot and learned a lot. And, you know, I got one last funny story I want to tell you.
Yeah.
I forgot to tell you last time. Mel Gibson.
Melly.
You know him? Have you met him?
Know him really well. No. No, I don't.
You were in traffic together once.
Yeah. That actually, I did nod to him once in L.A.
There you go.
I was on Sunset Boulevard. I looked to my right, and he's sitting in his Aston Martin, and he looked like he was like, "Please don't say shit."
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Hey.
So, that time when I was going around meeting people, one of the people, I got a call one day from my agent saying Mel Gibson wants to talk to you about a project. Oh wow, cool. So I went to Warner Brothers where his office was, and I went into the office, and he wasn't there. It was like one of his assistants, a right-hand man or something, and a producer, and he starts talking to me about the project, and I said, "Is Mel coming in?" He said, "Yeah, he'll be here." And I started thinking, he's not coming. It was a stupid meeting. But anyway, so we're sitting there, and he had a book. It was a children's fable book, a Chinese fable book called Five Brothers, and each brother had a separate superpower, and it was a cool story. And then we're talking about it, and then Mel walks in, and he's just, you know, he's a little guy, and he hustles in, and he says, sorry I'm late. He sits down, plunks down in a chair, and he looks at me, and he says, "Hi, I'm Steve. You know, hi Steve. Sorry I'm late. Love your work. I want to talk to you about this project." And he starts talking to me about the project, and we talk for a bit. And then I asked him a question. I said, after Australia, like, where did you get most of your set time? Like, where did you just all of a sudden appeared in Hollywood? And that doesn't happen like that. What happened? He said, the Orient, Singapore. He said, I did a ton of work in Singapore. I said, like, Singapore, like what kind of movies? Like English movies? No. He said, what we did was there was a company that was making like low rent movies out for all over the world. And we would go, they would get white actors from Australia because it's the closest.
Okay.
We get white actors from Australia and you know, and they would bring them in and we would do like 10 movies in a week. 10 movies in a week? How are you doing that? He said, I said, in English? He said, no, this is what we do. The script would only have numbers on it. I said, what are you talking about? He said, like it would say, angry 7, happy 3, angry 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Happy 3. 1, 2, 3. And they would just dub the languages.
Good God.
I want to meet the guy that came up with this.
What?
I thought, what? And he says, oh yeah, it was great. You're laughing, 7, pause, angry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. No, 1, 2, 3. You know, and that's what they would do. And then they would just dub 7 different languages over.
What the fuck? I feel like filming something right now.
So do I.
I could write a script.
That's hilarious, right? And they would just dub every language over. They knew how long the words sort of were.
Man, you left this gem for the end. This is brilliant. I've never heard of anything like.
And I was like, holy fuck, that's amazing. And he said, I did that for years. He said, I just learned to act with numbers.
That's unbelievable. And so this sort of made his fame a little bit.
No, it just got him chops.
Got
It
him.
got him
Okay, okay.
experience and got him.
I wonder.
It really got him.
Mad Max got him fame.
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Of course.
Right.
Mad Max.
For sure.
But, let's do this by the numbers.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
So
man.
it got him experience and money. I guess he made a living doing that. That's how he got
Yeah.
that's how he just got.
Maybe he came to Hollywood though, and he was like, "Shit, I got to learn lines."
I know, right?
Fuck.
What was funny was, but when you think about it, it's great practice. Emote with numbers, like just
Yeah.
And what is
Absolutely.
What's the director saying? Like,
Wow.
make it 11. Go to 11 this time.
Yeah, really. Eh?
9 and 11. Oh, it's fucking great.
That really is. It's brilliant.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It is.
And I was like, so they were just churning out low budget movies,
Huh.
and you put any language on it.
Because once it's dubbed, it doesn't matter what you're saying.
No,
I guess not.
and it was never going to be in English.
I want to see one of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
I wonder if we have and just haven't put it together. I don't know.
You watch a lot of
Well, I guess
Chinese
that's true. I
language
don't-
movies, but
And I was just like,
Oh, yeah.
I was blown away.
That's
I was just like,
ridiculous.
holy shit.
no, that's
He
hilarious.
said it was great. He said we did it for years. It was great. We just churned them out.
Okay, so you never ended up doing this picture
No,
with Mel.
The project never took off.
Yeah.
But I ran into him again playing golf. He showed up at my country club one day.
Yeah.
He was at the range, and I was like, he probably didn't remember me, but I
Incredible.
should have looked at him and said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yeah.
That is such a good story.
Isn't that
Wow.
great?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my favorite Hollywood story. It's like, what?
I never
Man.
heard anything like that in my life. That's fun.
Well,
So the
Shank.
yeah.
I guess you've already signed the table.
Well, he's
Yeah.
already signed it, Steve. Let's let him get. Let's write down Shank.
Yeah, let's sign it as Shank. Right
And-
on.
and with a
Part two.
PT too.
I got one more Tiger Woods story.
Copy that.
One more Tiger Woods story. So the Shank thing. So part of the deal with Buick was they would come up to me and say, "Hey Steve, if we can grab like 3 more shots today, we got this other little spot we want to do. I just need a shot of Tiger looking over there and saying something. If you can grab that for me." And I said, "I don't know. Our schedule is crazy, man. Like we're fucking." The guy says, "I'll get you a spot in the Buick Open Pro-Am if you can pull that off for me." I'm like, "Ooh,
Really?
okay." Okay. I said, "We'll get that shot." So for about 4 years, I played in the Buick Open Pro-Am at Torrey Pines and at
Whoa.
Westchester in New York. So first Pro-Am is a couple of days after I shoot with Tiger. We're at Torrey Pines. Tiger has won 7 tournaments in a row from the season before. Torrey Pines is the first tournament he plays in the new year. It's coming up next week down in San Diego. So that was always his first tournament of the year. It may have been done already. No, they did Phoenix. So it's next, I think. Anyway, so he had won 7 in a row the year before. So he's going for 8 in a row. And this is at his peak. And the green is huge. The practice putting green is huge at Torrey Pines. So it's busy. Everyone's putting on the green. And then all of a sudden, it's like parting of the seas. Everybody clears. Here comes Tiger. Like no one wanted to be in his way. Nobody's in his way. It's like, holy shit, here comes God. Back off. The pros are all standing back. Like, holy shit, here he is.
Man.
He walks out onto the green. He's probably 100 feet from me. And I'm over here looking up, and he walks out. And everyone leaves him alone. They move away. They leave him alone. He's putting. So I take a ball, and I bat it over towards him, and it goes right by his feet. And he sort of looks up. He looks at me, and he yells across the green, "Shank!" And he's like, "What are you doing here?" And everyone's looking at me now. I'm like, I said, "I'm playing in the Pro-Am." and he yells out, "You're going to kill somebody. You can't play here."
Oh, that's so good.
I'm like, I'm not going to kill anybody. I promise. Anyway, so our team won the Pro-Am.
Oh, trip.
Oh.
So I saw him after, and I said, "We won." "No way." "No, we won."
That's so
Right
good.
on, man.
That's so good.
Shank.
You've had a very interesting
Yeah, it's been fun.
career and life in
Been
general.
fun. Yeah. Yeah, crazy.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, Shank.
Oh, yeah, I should have put that one there.
Hey, Shank, you can't play here. That's beautiful.
It's good.
Part 2. Love it.
Just to be clear, that's great.
Thanks a lot, Steve.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so
I
much.
feel better now. I got to talk about commercials.
Absolutely. Cut it, D.
B.
Oh, yeah.
B.
Both of you cut it.